What up, what up, what up, everybody, everybody. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't expect me to be on right now, but I just want to do a little live to catch up on the different things that's been going on. A lot is happening. The tightening up of America is actually happening right before the decisions of the birthright citizenship. There's a lot of stuff are being discovered. Fraudulent things that immigrants continually do is now really being exposed on a massive level. And I'm so happy that this is, the finding of all these fraudulent situations and people so that they can get the hell on out of our country and we can balance the budget better and we can support Americans better. That's my hope that will happen and translate what is happening. Share your thoughts on this topic. Later on, we'll discuss also Pres.Macron of France. He had the nerve to say that he was a Pan-Africanist. So if he can say he's a Pan-Africanist, you ought to know what Pan-Africanism is all about. It's very interesting. There was an African summit, and the president of France, Macron, went and discussed. And we'll talk about what he had to say. He said a lot, and he did a lot. He was very bold and vocal. And I wonder what you guys feel about him calling himself a Pan-Africanist. Like, I'm sure the Pan-Africans themselves don't know what to do about that. They don't know what to do about that. But actually, Pan-Africans are very predatory. They're very invasive. They're very imposing. They really feel like they have the right to force people into the ideology of what they think. And I know, up front that that's happening with Black Americans. We are being targeted by different globalists that are Pan-Africans, Democrats, and other people that feel like we ought to bow down under the guise of Pan-Africanism by erasing our identity and erasing our history and our lineage here in America and try to connect us to a place we've never been, and most of us don't even care to go. So that is very indicative of what the Pan-Africans are doing to Black Americans. So I'm not really I'm not too surprised about him calling himself that, but he is a white guy. That's the shocking part about it. But we're going to talk about that later. First, we're going to listen to a little bit of what Trump had to say. I like to catch up with him because I don't look at his stuff every single day. I don't like listening about war and all that kind of thing. So I just kind of like let things pass by, and eventually I'll get to a good live where he has answered questions and he talked and did a speech, or he answered a lot of questions. So I want to start off with that first. If you guys could, please hit the like button. Please share and subscribe to the channel. After I show what Trump's talking about, we will get to the immigrants that have been called out in so many different ways of different scams and schemes that they've been a part of. And I know a whole host, a network of people all over the globe are astonished that everything is coming out, and they really, really want Trump badly gone. They really want him gone. They don't want all their little tricks to be unearthed. They don't want us to know all the little things they've been getting away with. All this time, come to think of it, we've been the scapegoat of all scapegoats. The Black Americans, the indigenous Americans here in America, by so many different people calling us welfare queens and calling us without baby daddies or no fathers in the home and crimes galore. And everybody loved to sing the same song about that. But now you don't have a way of hiding and covering yourself behind the media's propaganda and everybody trying to put everything on us, because now you're in the spotlight. And I know that many immigrants are not very happy to be in the spotlight. They don't want to be shown, just like roaches. Roaches don't like the light. As soon as you turn that light on, they scurry away. They want to do everything in the darkness. But with everything that's going on, the blessing of all blessing is that we can see the truth. There is no more pretending. There's no more politically correct. There's no more hiding and, fabrication of stories. Everything is laid out right in front of our faces. So people that want to play dumb about different things are doing it on purpose, or they have an agenda and they have to ignore the truth because they are trying to set people up for their agendas. And I am here to expose the agendas that I know of and also support President Trump, because without him, America would have been done. So let's get to Trump real quick. Let's listen to a little bit about what he had to say. And like I said, we're going to have a fairly good live, maybe 3-4 hours. I will be on to go through an array of different things that I have wanted to talk about, but I haven't gotten a chance to do, but I am doing now. So let's get to him real quick.
You said you've told your congressional colleagues that you will not sign any piece of legislation until the Save America Act is passed. Does that include the confirmation of Senator Mullen as your next DHS secretary? Does that mean a DHS funding bill? And Senator Thune said today it's not a matter of whether or not your Republican colleagues agree with the policy. It's about changing the process. In other words, getting rid of the filibuster to get there.
So in order to get it, you're going to need Democrat votes. And what we're saying is the Save America, not the Save Act, which nobody knew what it was, the Save America Act, the Save America Act. And that's voter ID. We want voter ID. When a voter, we want to be able to see a picture of the voter. We want to be able to see that the voter is legitimate. We want, very importantly, confirmation that this voter is a citizen of the United States of America, and we want no mail-in ballot scams. So we have exceptions for the military, for sick, for disabled, and for people that are away, business trips or whatever. Even vacations will be very liberal in that. We've added two things to it: no men and women's sports and no transgender mutilation of our children. We don't want it's mutilization of our children, and we don't want that. So we added those two things. That's the 5 points. We have 5 very good points. It polls at 86% with Democrats. Think of that. The overall vote is 86%. With Republicans, it's 98%. And the only one opposed to it is a Democrat leadership because they cheat. They want to cheat. So we added those 2 points. We're going for the gold, and we're going to have to fight like hell. Now, certain things will happen. Certain things will take place. I'm here to do a great job for the country. But we don't have a country if we're going to have elections that are so corrupt and so dishonest like we've witnessed over the last period of time. You know, as an example, virtually nobody has nobody has a system of mail-in ballots like we have. No other country in the world. France went away from it. They all went, you know why? Because it's corrupt. And Jimmy Carter, when he had a commission, frankly, I think it's probably the best thing Jimmy Carter did. He said, you can't have mail-in voting because it's inherently dishonest. And it's turned out to be totally dishonest, and we're going to fight for it. Yeah.
Has Iran activated any sleeper cells inside the U.S.? There's reports that they have pressed that trigger button to activate those cells, at least abroad.
Well, they've been trying for a long time. We've been very much on top of it. One of the things we have to do is get the Democrats to stop the Democrat shutdown, because, as you know, the apparatus that looks into that, Schumer and the Democrats have shut it down, which tells you they probably hate our country a lot. But the Democrats have to open that up. But we've got very, very good intelligence into that. We know a lot of different things that have happened that have been very bad. A lot of them came in during the Biden open border period, but we have them under, we've got them, we're watching every single one of them. Yeah, we know a lot about them. The biggest problem we have is the Democrat shutdown. We know a lot about them, but the shutdown doesn't allow us to do what we have to do.
When you think of the ultimate luxury kitchen, Sub-Zero comes to the minds of many. Their designer series
shutdown doesn't allow us to do what we have to do.
Do you have to take him out? Does he have a target on his back?
You mean the new supreme leader? You mean the son?
How can there be an Iran?
Well, I don't want to say that, but you know, I was disappointed because we think it's going to lead to just more of the same problem for the country. So I was disappointed to see their choice.
Thank you, sir. You've said you have someone in mind to be the new Iranian leadership, if not the Ayatollah's son. What are you looking for in that person? Are you looking at someone internal, given that you just said that their leadership has been
I like the idea of internal and eternal, come to think of it. But I like the idea of internal because it works well. I mean, I think we've proven that so far in Venezuela. We have a woman, Delcy, who has been president of the country, very respected, she's doing a great job. And it's, no disruption. We had, as you remember, Iraq, where everybody got fired. The military got fired, the police got fired, the politicians got fired. There was nobody. And you know what they turned into? ISIS. And we don't want that. We don't want that. So I would like to see people that are inside go. Now, they talk about the son of the Shah. They talk about other people, but, hasn't been there in many, many years. We have a formula that's been very good so far, and I think it'll continue to be good. The relationship is extraordinary with Venezuela, smart country. We've taken out 100 million barrels of oil. It's right now in Houston being taken care of and made so beautiful. And you have to see this at work. They have it's brought to the refineries. It's being refined in Houston, which is made exactly for that product. And so far, but it's 100 million barrels of oil, and now they have another 100 million barrels coming. And it's like a partnership. We're getting along so well with them. It's great for Venezuela, and it's great for the United States. Yeah, please go ahead.
Hi, Mr. President. You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation, but tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report. Yeah, please.
You said earlier that we've already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough. What do you consider enough? What's your baseline?
Where they're not going to be starting the following day to develop a nuclear weapon. Where they'll look at that man and some other people from the administration and say, all right, we're not going to do it. They were not willing to say that. And when Steve called up and he said that to me, I said, well, here we go. Let's do it the hard way. But the hard way, I think, is probably the easy way. When basically I can see that they will no longer have any capacity whatsoever for a very long period of time of developing weaponry that could be used against the United States, Israel, or any of our allies. We have great allies in the Middle East, great countries that are allies. And they were staying out of it until they got hit. Someday they'll have to do a story. Why did he do that? Why did they do that? But they were going to hit them. If I didn't hit them first, they were going to hit our allies first. I believe, upon information and belief, but I believe that he was going to, they were going to take over the Middle East. They were looking to take over the Middle East. Now, had Operation Midnight Hammer not taken place, that was definite, because they would have had a nuclear weapon within a matter of weeks. But that took place. That was a setback. But look at the number of missiles they were able to buy and make over the last 6 months. And those missiles were aimed at various countries. And when you look at over 1,000 missiles shot at like UAE, they were looking to take over the Middle East. We got there first. We're lucky. I'll tell you what, the Middle East and those countries, very rich countries, are very lucky that I was president instead of somebody else.
Points of disagreement between yourself and your vice president when it comes to U.S. action in Iran?
I don't think so, no. No, we get along very well on this. He was, I would say, philosophically a little bit different than me. I think he was maybe less enthusiastic about going, but he was quite enthusiastic. But I felt it was something we had to do. I didn't feel we had a choice. If we didn't do it, they would have done it to us. I felt, based on the negotiations that were being had by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco and Pete, and everybody was involved, I felt that they were looking to tap us along before they hit, and I thought they were going to hit. And if they hit us first, that would have been a very bad thing. In the back, please, in the back.
This is the moment your hair stops holding you back. You pull it up and...
Back.
Sir, you said you were considering seizing the Strait of Hormuz. Is there a timeline for that?
About the Strait, you mean? Yeah, well, I want to keep it open. I want to keep it good. You know, it doesn't pertain to us so much as it does to China. We're really helping China here and other countries because they get a lot of their energy from the Straits. But, hey, look, we have a good relationship with China. It's my honor to do it. Yeah.
I'm going to get back to that a little bit later. I don't want to bore y'all because maybe some of y'all have already seen this questioning that he took just 18 hours ago. I want to now go to where immigrants were really called out by ICE, and they had a press conference and they wanted to showcase and talk about different scams that they discovered. And this is what I mean. A lot of people argue with us day and night on lies that they're superior, lies that they're educated, lies that they get it out of the mud, that we are less than them. And come to find out, many of these immigrants from all over the globe have been really stealing from our government. They have been having a network of con artists and thieves galore. And they're from every geographic that you can think of. There's actually a mayor that's from China who had to be let go because she was like a secret agent as a mayor. And it's very, very puzzling to me how these people were able to have so much easiness and ease to get in the seats of governments, a government mayor or a governor or a senator, all these things. I just assumed that only Americans could have these seats. I never, ever studied a lot. I didn't take civil, how you learn the government and different policies and this and that and the other. So I was very astonished to learn that so many people from anywhere could have access to power in our government. And, out of all the times that a lot of white people have been racist, I would say that would have been a time to have a prejudice, not necessarily a racism, but a prejudice as far as who could be in control or have access to seating as governors, mayors, or whatever. They should be disallowed to have the access of that. If you have another allegiance to another country, you have got to be assumed to not be able to do the job better than someone that does only have an allegiance to America by itself. I don't understand how people can assume people that just were born over here, but they got parents from China or got parents from India, they got parents from Africa, or maybe they just got over here like Ilhan Omar. How was she able to get that seat as a senator? I believe she is some type of representative. How was she able to do so? I mean, she was a refugee, for God's sake. A refugee from a hostile country. And she was able to garner power and to be able to swindle the government. And there's just hundreds of cases of this stuff going on. And all we've been hearing all this time is Black Americans are the problem. And now y'all don't have that to shield y'all. I know it hurts, but let me get to this other conference about all these scams that foreigners have been getting away with, but not no more. Hey, what's up, Golden Brown? How are you? What's up, Leon, by the way, and Jay Rung and Jessen October, Sassy Softy. Thank you for being here. And everybody that's in the clouds, if you guys could, please hit that like button. This is going to be real crazy to hear, but this is what they got going on. These foreigners able to work out all these scams, y'all. Check it out.
Good morning. Over the past year, ICE Homeland Security Investigations has aggressively targeted rampant fraud within our foreign student and exchange visa programs. As the United States government mobilizes against these criminal schemes, our commitment is clear. We will dismantle fraudulent operations and hold every perpetrator accountable without exception. While many foreign students legitimately pursue degrees, our nation will not tolerate security threats originating from the foreign student program. We've encountered cases involving espionage, biological threats, intellectual property theft, visa and employment fraud, and even scams targeting elderly Americans, all perpetrated by individuals abusing their status as students. The scope and severity of these crimes cannot be overstated. Today, our focus is on the optional practical training program, which has become a magnet for fraud. OPT has been the subject of numerous HSI investigations, media exposés, and damning reports from the Government Accountability Office and the USCIS Ombudsman. When OPT was created under the Bush administration and expanded under the Obama administration, DHS anticipated only a few thousand foreign students would receive training approval before returning home. Instead, OPT ballooned into an uncontrolled guest worker pipeline with hundreds of thousands of foreign students working in the United States. As the program size has exploded, so has the fraud. During the first Trump administration, we uncovered thousands of foreign students claiming employment at work sites that did not exist, blatantly fabricating information provided to DHS. Under the Biden administration, the fraud escalated even further. Today, we are announcing that we have identified over 10,000 foreign students who claim to be working for highly suspect employers. And that's just among the top 25 OPT employers. This is only the tip of the iceberg. Over the past year, we've dramatically expanded our oversight of OPT and can report that we've found fraud nationwide. HSI agents have visited problematic OPT employer work sites in Virginia, Texas, Georgia, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, and Florida. Many of these employers include NGOs engaged in suspicious activity. We've discovered empty buildings and locked doors at addresses where hundreds of foreign students are allegedly employed. In many cases, multiple OPT employers claim to operate from the same address, but none actually lease the facility. We found small residential addresses listed as work sites for hundreds of foreign students, yet no employees were present. When someone does answer the door, their statements are inconsistent, or they claim no knowledge of the business. We're also seeing financial red flags. Many alleged employers display clear fraud indicators, including tax liens, civil lawsuits, collections, and breaches of contract. And we are seeing suspicious financial transactions moving cash across multiple countries. We've discovered that numerous businesses fail to maintain basic employment records for the foreign students, raising serious tax reporting concerns. Some employers claim to have offshore human resources and payroll personnel. And finally, we're finding what we call phantom employees. We've identified foreign students who obtain work authorization documents through OPT, but never showed up for work at the sites they claimed. While we can't share details of ongoing investigations, I can assure you that more information is forthcoming and that we are taking this fraud very seriously. With that, I'll turn it over to the Acting Executive Associate Director for HSI, Mr. John Condon, who can speak in greater detail. John.
Thank you, Director Lyons. Last week, HSI investigators and compliance officials conducted site visits at 18 OPT work sites in North Texas. Our findings were alarming. We discovered coordinated employer clusters where numerous employers in the same building complex are running nearly identical websites, sharing job postings and management personnel, but claiming no business relationships with each other. We found shell company schemes where multiple OPT employers are established by the same owner-operator, indicating a deliberate scheme to structure income and evade taxes. We've encountered employers who claim only a handful of OPT employees, despite our records showing that hundreds of students claim to work there. To give you an example, one employer we visited claimed to employ only 3 foreign students through OPT, while our records show over 500 foreign students claiming to work there. The company's representatives were unable to answer basic questions about the business and deferred to HR managers in India. OPT employers are required to directly train foreign students, but we've seen multiple examples of alleged employers claiming that all management is overseas in India. We've also discovered...
And you know that the students are not that old, so they have been assisted by their countries or the scammers that are cells within their countries. They had a way in. Nobody really cared about checking over them as they do Black Americans. They look for everything pertaining to us, but when it comes to illegals or people visiting that are immigrants, they just roll out the red carpet and they allow these people to pretty much get comfortable and feel entitled to do whatever they desire to do because they got away with it for so very long. And now we understand that not any of these people over here has good intention for America. It's very rare to find people that's from other places that have good intentions. So I really think and hope that there will be laws to upgrade and disallow people from other countries from having the gates wide open for them to just have it their way. And Trump is the one that's going to change it. But I really feel because of this next election coming up in a couple of years, we got to make sure the Democrats stay out of office, because they're going to continue what they've been doing. They want to be fraudulent. They want to be schemers. They want to be liars. They want to be connivers. They don't want to be about America. They're not about America at all, not even a little bit. Under their watch, all this stuff was allowed to happen on purpose. And I know that they're squirming in their chairs about, how am I going to get caught up in all of this? Because a lot of them have the knowledge of knowing all these things that have happened. They had to have known. How are people, tens of thousands of people from other countries, not looked at any time about anything? Man, they had it good for a while, but it's over now. It's over now.
Multiple state networks which are large networks of alleged employers claiming to train thousands of foreign students in OPT, then farming them out to unreported third-party employers, making oversight nearly impossible and raising serious national security issues. And we found potential evidence of international financial fraud. Our investigators have discovered questionable financial networks crossing multiple countries, involving numerous bank accounts and complex transactions. These cases aren't limited by geography. In Houston, we found an alleged OPT employer accused of pay-to-stay visa fraud, who was charging students under the table to help them fraudulently maintain visa status.
And think about it. A lot of these people just have this mindset of, out of desperation and feeling like they have to make the most out of the opportunity that they get. And however they get it, they feel it's justified. They feel like, we're struggling. You guys have had it good for a while. It's our time type of thing. And, there's too many people to count with this same mentality, but they're all over the place here right now in America. And that's why a lot of people are sweating and wondering if their green card is going to pass the test, if their citizenship going to stay and remain. Is their baby that they just had a few years ago going to still be considered American? A lot of people, because a lot of people did a lot of stuff wrong, because nobody was caring about what they were doing. And they just assumed they had it like that. They were just talking recklessly online about how they had it like that, and nobody's going to stop them, and they're going to keep coming back, and no one's going to stop nothing. And now, the person that's in office is really doing the right thing for America, despite what other people are trying to deem him to be, wicked or racist and all this other type of nonsense. But nobody can go to no other country and do all the things that is allowed to have happened here in America. And I'm so happy that now we can get a handle. And I feel like all we need to do is continue to vote Republican and keep the Democrats out, so that their agendas will not see the light of day. Because their agendas is about being globalists, being Marxists, having open borders, having everybody to have their way and be over here at the expense of Americans. And that's not cool at all. We are not designating ourselves as sacrificial lambs for the globalists. Hell to the no. No. Let me see what you said here. I'm doing better, Golden Brown. I have been on TikTok lately, checking it out a little bit. So hopefully we can run into one another if you have that TikTok app too. You said, how come the American government doesn't allow us, FBA, Black Americans, fraud, the government, everything we do is scrutinized down to the penny? We can't get away with nothing. Everybody's is suspecting of us, even if we're not doing anything. They give the benefit of the doubt to immigrants because they carry themselves quietly. They appear as humble. They don't talk too loud and proud, but they come with agendas in tow, and they know that they're going to do the best that they can to get away with whatever. And now the jig is up. The jig is up. There's nowhere to hide. You can't accuse Black Americans of nothing. You can't accuse white Americans of nothing. You can't accuse the government of nothing, because if y'all have been defrauding the government for years and now your time has come for you to go home, it's your fault, not nobody else's, because you didn't have to come here illegally. You didn't have to take advantage of the visa. You didn't have to make up businesses you didn't even have and open up banks in other places to carry on with the fraud. If you made the decision to defraud the government, you deserve what you get. Like so many times Black Americans go to jail. We don't have nobody advocating for us and our families when we're separated. But suddenly we're supposed to care about immigrants' family and being separated. You know, make that make sense. Let's go.
Had never operated from the listed address, and over 100 foreign students allegedly employed there were nowhere to be found. In Georgia, we found an alleged IT company's address was nothing but a P.O. box. The owner operated a second related company across the street, also allegedly employing dozens of foreign students. The location was empty. One of the company's websites was flagged by DHS firewalls as potential malware, a common marker of fraudulent OPT employers. In New Jersey, we discovered an OPT employer who claimed to employ over 150 foreign students but couldn't answer basic questions about who they were or what they were hired to do. We only encountered one of these students who revealed he had not worked for the listed company in over a year. He was instead being trained by a company based in India. And in a New York condo allegedly housing dozens of foreign students, a supposed employer became visibly upset and denied any knowledge of the company, despite DHS records and student reports confirming otherwise. A foreign student confirmed the individual was the owner, but could not explain his denial. HSI will continue to investigate these cases, among several others. Director Lyons.
Thank you, John. Let me be clear. Foreign students themselves are entering false addresses and employer names into the student and exchange visitor information system.
And that's why a lot of us as Americans need to make sure you protect your identity, make sure that you check how I feel uncomfortable when I see a whole lot of, I'm gonna be honest, I feel uncomfortable when I call my doctor or whatever, and a lot of different people that I don't even understand their accent, where they're from, having access to our information. I sometimes feel uncomfortable because they can just jot down your information as they work doing overseas customer service. They have a lot of that, in India, other places that you hear all the time. And that's how a lot of them have access to get people's information and be able to store it away and use it for another day. There should never be a time that people should have access like that. These people that come over here should be limited on what type of jobs they should be able to do, especially with sensitive identification stuff, because of this likeliness of fraud and taking away people's identity happening. A lot of people get their identity stolen, and they get like credit cards in their names, they get apartments in their name, they work under their name, and other things are always happening just to be able to conceal their true identity so that they can stay and remain. I would never trust people that are foreigners having access to my personal information. Never, never, never. But anyways, it just puzzles me how we didn't look clearly at stuff. I think thinking about how, in times past, a lot of people really disliked and despised Black Americans so much that they have allowed their anger and, to not see things straight. They had a tunnel vision of anger, and they chose people that weren't trustworthy. They chose people that were not and would never be trustworthy. And now we are in a shamble of sorts with so many people from all over the place, millions of them, not a few thousand. It's millions of them. They're everywhere with all kinds of ideas to do this and do that. Not only that, but crimes you got to worry about. People carjacking you, people unaliving you, people graping you, kidnapping you. On top of all that, bringing drugs over here. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. The least likely person that you're going to suspect a lot of times are these immigrants, but those are the ones you should be looking at first. And we really dropped the ball with our mentality as Americans. And like I say, white people, a lot of this stuff you brought on yourself, especially if you have had a history of disliking Black Americans, and you let us be the boogeyman in all your stories and all your disdain that you felt about what's wrong with America. And you build up this contempt for us when the real true fraudsters were, right behind your ear, doing whatever, and you never turned your head to even see them. So now we're here. What's up, The Rock? How are you doing? Let me read what you got to say. Golden Brown says, these immigrants don't come to America for justice. They come for the finance. They don't believe in America. They believe in American money only. Exactly. They believe in springboarding off of the legacy and history of what we accomplish and to just hijack from us and make their own way. Like everything that's going on right now, everybody's utilizing our old civil rights plights of marching on bridges and songs that we sang. I mean, they're mimicking to the tilt, to the T. And it's so ridiculous because they're not original. None of these people have a spirit and a soul to themselves. They don't have an authenticity about themselves because they are, they don't have a soul, man. That's the best way I can explain it. They really don't have a soul. I don't even understand how they can just use past things that we used to do and think that shit is cute to do, but they don't have another way of making up their own momentum and their own sense of pride and integrity because they have none. A lot of them don't. They're devoid of this type of integrity that we had, spiritualness, being blessed by God, having God's hand on us with protection and selection of what we would do and how we would move. Everything that they do, it's a carbon copy of what we've already done. Because they don't have, like you said, a sense of justice. They don't have a sense of pride. They don't have integrity, or they just feel like they deserve, they're entitled because we are here. A lot of them just look at us as the reasoning for why they should have the same thing that we have. In all honesty, that's why a lot of immigrants are upset when we're not in support of them, because they think that we should look at ourselves as them. And it's like, but we're not the same. I'm an American. And even if you become Americanized, you would never be an American. You're just a citizen of America because you have another home. You can't be the real McCoy because you're not. You're not of the soil. Generations upon generations. You will never be a true American. It's fascinating because I have heard on lives where immigrants said, oh, when I become American, I'm just like you. There's no difference. You're not more American than me. You's a damn lie. You is a lie from the depths of hell. And I correct them when they say that around me. Like, no, you're not. You're not here for generations. You don't matter. You didn't build nothing. You didn't sacrifice for nothing. You didn't indebt yourself or serve this country in any capacity. You are not American, and you will never be a true American. You're just using the label because you were processed into getting Americanized. But again, people think that they can equate that to being the same thing as somebody that's been here for hundreds of years. I like, have y'all bumped your head. What's wrong with y'all? The Rock says, what up, Black for Black? Did old boy Macron said he is a Pan-Africanist? I know the panties are jumping with joy. You know, I'm going to get there because that was so funny. That is so funny. He went off. Wait till you get to that. Wait till I get to that. But we've got a little bit to go here. Let's get back to this.
System. But we are uncovering evidence of organized fraud that spans national and international borders. This is not accidental. It is deliberate, coordinated, and criminal. DHS will relentlessly investigate, disrupt, and refer for prosecution anyone who exploits our programs. We've intensified our vetting at consular posts overseas, targeting trafficking, forced labor, document fraud, and unauthorized employment among student visa applicants. I commend our HSI agents and support staff for their unwavering commitment to defending the integrity of the student and exchange visitor program. This fraud is not victimless. It is a blatant attack on the goodwill of the American people who generously allow foreign nationals access to our education system. If you're an employer or a foreign student engaged in fraud against the United States, you are advised to return home or surrender immediately. The criminal, civil, and immigration consequences for fraud are severe and unavoidable. We will not tolerate abuse of our programs, and more actions are forthcoming. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the beginning. So now I want to show a few of these types of cases in which he's mentioning, not only the student fraud. I mean, there is a actual mayor. Let me find that mayor. Chinese mayor caught an agent being an agent. I had a video, but I can't find it real quick. But let me find this and we'll get there. I'm just like, what the hell? Why in the world would you allow someone from China, your competitor, to be able to become a damn mayor when they're competing against you, when they want to be over you or surpass you? I don't understand what is wrong with some of these white people. Y'all don't know how to look at things. It is very weird. Like when you're supposed to tighten up on being prejudiced, you somehow lose that. And all you remember is the hatred that you can garner up for black folks when we don't do these types of things. But let me get to this. Hold on. Let me get to this. Hit the like button, please. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, here we go.
So on the eve of this trip, we learned that the mayor of Arcadia, California, agreed to plead guilty to a federal charge of acting as an illegal foreign agent for China, also promoting Chinese propaganda. So in light of that, how can the U.S. trust China right now?
Well, I do not know the details of that case. I actually only read about it on media, and this is the U.S. judicial process. There is no place for me to pass my personal comment on the case and whether or not, the case is fair. She's getting fair trial. I have absolutely no idea. But I do see a pattern. I do see that, the targeting of Chinese journalists, for instance, or anything that is.
So she's trying to support the person that's been accused of being an agent for China. But this goes to show you their allegiance aligns with the people from where they come from, and that will never change. So, if you think about people coming from Africa and people trying to tell us to look at them as the same, it's like ridiculous. This is the same exact reason why we should not want to be involved with Pan-Africans and Africans because the truth is the truth. And their allegiance lies with Africa and ours lies here in America. And we're not changing our mindset to appease anybody because it's us sacrificing ourselves for them. And we're not doing that.
That is speaking fairly objectively about China is labeled pro-China, and it's a propaganda, and that these people are secret agent for China. I mean, these are very vague terms, and they're very big terms. So when you're giving these very big and very frightening-looking headlines, you're creating a fear about China, again, being the very strange other that people don't know, that probably has very bad motivations, that's going to harm the Americans.
So she's only worried about how we're going to perceive them moving forward. She's only concerned about, is this going to affect other views of how y'all look at us as a whole? Well, y'all do this all the time when it comes to Black Americans. Anybody that has a crime or does anything, we got to take and bear the weight of all the crimes as a whole. Nobody says that's just one Black man that did that. Y'all say the whole Black community, this is what's wrong with them. This is why y'all need to get yourself together and find some accountability type of talk. But when you have somebody else from other places, somehow they are above anything that their people do. And we're only supposed to, surgically remove one individual and castigate that person and blame that one person and don't look at all the other foreigners that are here as being capable of doing the thing in which this Chinese mayor was accused of. It's very interesting that she would be so bold to say, oh, we don't want you guys to look at us in a bad light, though. But again, I think we need to start looking at them in a bad light because a lot of them are here and a lot of them have these type of intentions of wanting to take over. Everybody that's over here is wanting to take over, have a piece of the pie of America, just like what happened over there in Africa for the scramble of Africa in the 1800s when all those Europeans went over there and they carved out portions of Africa among themselves. That's what these foreigners are coming over here to America to do, essentially the same thing. They're all in agreement to what they're doing. It's just crazy to witness, man. It's crazy.
That is helpful at all in the case at the time when Americans actually need the Chinese to cooperate with them to fight drug problems. For instance, recently you had a joint drug operation where a multinational drug trafficking and smuggling channel was busted under the cooperation of American and Chinese law enforcement authorities. 2 Chinese suspects were arrested and 3 American suspects were arrested in America. I think these are important cases that need to be talked about more. There are also this factory in Michigan where Ford is collaborating with a licensed technology from the Chinese battery maker CATL, providing jobs for the local people, providing the opportunity so that America can produce its own new energy vehicles. When you're focused on these negative stories instead of the bright side, I think it is very difficult for people to trust the Chinese.
Well,
and we shouldn't be trusting y'all. I had enough of her. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know this was gonna be all this madness of her saying, "Oh, we do more good than evil." We look at the good versus the bad. It's not so bad after all. I mean, she's truly on the side of the Chinese woman, and a lot of them just feel like they can do no wrong. And this is the mindset of many immigrants that come over here, that they benefit America in their mind, but they endanger us, I think, a lot more by having the mentality of not looking closer to these immigrants that are over here and allowing a floodgate of them to be here. And now they're all already up on us. They're all here. Now, speaking of which, a Florida congressman actually wants to keep foreigners out of Congress. I don't think it's racist at all. These people are not from the soil. These people should not be able to make the rules in America. Only American people that have been here for generations should be making the rules of who can be in Congress, who should be a president. I really feel now that I understand what Obama did, he should have never been allowed to become president. Well, maybe his white side, but he wasn't raised in America. He was born in Hawaii. I don't know if that made a difference or not, but I just find it weird that since Obama, it seems like everything just kind of like came out of the open. A lot of things were allowed to happen after his presidency. I think he did a lot of damage becoming president, and we became lax. We start looking at everybody as equivalent to everybody and sameness. And now look at where we're at. These people are trying to take us over. And I am backing this congressman. What is his name? His name is Randy Fine. And he's about to go on and explain what he's trying to have happen. Maybe he's trying to get some special type of bill passed. I think it should happen ASAP to disallow these people. Well, what's up, Tahanka? Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Yeah, he was the worst thing ever.
Fine recently introduced the Disqualifying Dual Loyalty Act, which is some legislation that would essentially require folks who want to run for or serve in Congress to renounce any foreign citizenship. So it would ban those who have a citizenship other than the United States.
I think you should go further. You're talking about choose one. I think they shouldn't be allowed to be in position of power. Why the hell are they able to have tentacles in our government from all over the world? They're not looking out for Americans. They don't care about what happens to us. They care about what's happening to their people in another country and how they can bring them over here and replace us. That's what they're on. So just renouncing the citizenship, it's really, in my opinion, not enough. But here he goes.
From serving. And so joining us live now to talk about this is Congressman Randy Fine, Republican from Florida. Congressman Fine, we appreciate you joining us here on Fox 35 News Plus today.
Thanks for having me.
So first of all, I just talked with us about your bill, why this was something that you felt was important to file and what you want people to know about it.
Well, one of the things that shocked me when I got to Congress a year ago is there were dozens of members of Congress that could actually be foreigners that are serving in the American government. When you cannot serve two masters, and if you swear an oath to another country to put that country first, you should not be serving in Congress. And so I filed a bill a few months ago that would say that only Americans can serve in Congress. Now, most people are going to be shocked. Why is a bill like this necessary? I had the same reaction, but it turns out if you're a citizen of other countries, you can serve in the Congress of the United States. And my bill makes it very clear. You can only serve in Congress if you're an American citizen and only an American citizen.
Congressman, is this a problem? Is this something that we have seen before? Are there currently members of Congress serving who are dual citizens?
Well, one of the shocking things is we don't know how many there are because you're not required to disclose it. We know there are 36 members of Congress who at one time were citizens of another country, at least because they were born somewhere else. Now, that doesn't mean they may have come to the United States. They may have become naturalized citizens and they may have renounced their old citizenship. But we have a member of Congress whose parents are from Guatemala, for example, who has said, I am Guatemalan before I am American. We've had Ilhan Omar talk about how she is from Somalia and that her focus is on benefiting Somalia. So we know there are at least 30 members of Congress who could be dual citizens, who are eligible to be dual citizens, plus many more who may have naturalized into the citizenship of other countries. And when you see members of Congress
take policy positions that are actually intended to hurt the United States or to support our enemies, like Pramila Jayapal, who's working with Cuba, an enemy of the United States. She is someone who was Indian, may still be an Indian citizen. This is cause for concern. So the bill should be simple. Only Americans can serve in Congress, not foreigners.
Congressman, are you targeting these with this bill? These members?
Again, in my opinion, is not going far enough. I don't know who would have thought to have people that have other places that they're from to be suitable that have just gotten here. There should be a bigger criteria, like your family should have been here for at least 60 to 80 years before. Something like that. I don't think this is enough, but I mean, I guess he's trying, but I hope that Trump gets a wind of this and does a little bit more than what he suggests by just renouncing one citizenship, because you can still renounce it and still have your other intention. It's not going to change them when they're in power and they decide to bring 100,000 of their people from their land over here to compete and replace the Americans here. I think that if you're not about America and the American people as a whole, you should not have access to the government in any capacity. You said, yep, Obama was the door for all this to be what it is now. Yeah, he was the Trojan horse. He ruined everything. After him, everything went downhill. You said no foreigner should be never be there. I think so too. And that's not prejudice. Nobody else is going to allow you to go in any other country and run for their government. You're never going to be a mayor over there in Italy. You're never going to be a prime minister wherever they have in UK. You're never going to be a part of an African government and have some type of status in the government as a senator or whatever they call them over there. But what happens over here is like it's open season. That is the most ridiculous thing. I just always assumed it was only American that would be. I never really studied up on who was who until recently. Now I'm seeing everything for what it is. And we are in a very dangerous time, is what I'm seeing. You said because most of our government officials have foreign ancestry. Exactly. I think it should be a limit. You should be here for 60 plus years. Your generation to be a part of the government should be 60 plus years here, not 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago. That's not far enough. You said, how come the president has to be born in America, but the senator and the Congress don't have that requirement? That's what I'm saying. I just assumed it all was the same, Golden Brown. I ain't gonna lie. That's what I thought. So I got shot. Listen to this.
Members of Congress who you've highlighted, who we know you have stark political disagreements with?
No, they're just examples. But I am targeting any member of Congress who is a citizen of a foreign nation. The fact is, we don't know who all of them are. To Florida's credit, actually, Florida passed a bill during the last legislative session that will require anyone running for Congress to disclose on their qualifying paperwork if they are a citizen of another country. So at least in Florida, for this election, we will know who's running, who's also a foreigner.
What has reception to this bill been like? Is there a possibility that it passes?
Well, I think the reaction has been twofold. One is shock. Like, wait, what? Foreigners can serve in Congress? Citizens of other nations can serve in Congress? People are amazed that this is allowed to happen. And then the second thing is, well, this needs to be done ASAP. Foreigners should not be able to serve in the Congress of the United States, whether they're Republican or Democrat. What I would make clear, though, is that anyone who's currently a dual citizen could serve in Congress. They just need to renounce their citizenship of that other country and make clear that the only nation that they've sworn an oath to is the United States, which begs this question. If you were...
Isn't that dumb, Shirley Owens? Isn't that crazy? Are you from America or somewhere else? I just assumed that you had to be the requirement, such as the president being born in America. And I just assumed that you had to be here for generations before you would ever be able to access power, because of the fact that you could be a mole, the fact that you could be an agent, the fact that you could be selling secrets and having codes to this and knowing the movements of different people and where they live and their number. And I mean, my God, what are we doing? Man, oh man, that is wild. So I want to give a couple of examples of some of these foreigners that have really been caught off guard. Do you guys understand that in New York, there was a factory and ICE did a surprise raid in New York? They arrested 57 illegal immigrant workers. You have got to have some people behind the scenes orchestrating, getting all these foreigners, aliens, on board to work at one particular place. I hope that they tell the whole tale, but we're going to see what happened, because they went up into this factory and they got all these people to go into this room, and some woman was trapping herself into the bathroom stall, and it went down. So let me just show y'all. I mean, 57 jobs could go a long way with teenagers that are American, men that need extra money, women that need a job, Americans overall that need to work. But you reserved specifically this factory to be able to undercut Americans out of work, and gave this American dream and uplifted these illegals over us. And I do believe that Democrats were behind this, and this has been their agenda to basically replace Black Americans and other Americans, to basically replace us and make our life a living hell, to the point where we would want to leave America. And that is the mentality that they're placing onto us to have. So this is crazy right here. Check this out, y'all.
Miss, pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom. Pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom. Miss, pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom.
On June 10th, Omaha woke up to a storm. And it wasn't the weather. It was the sound of federal boots, radios crackling, and a convoy of ICE vans rolling into South Omaha. This was the largest worksite immigration raid the city has ever seen. ICE officers...
Well, they're saying this was in Omaha, but the reading says ICE surprises raids New York factory. So I don't know what to make of that. Which one is it? They're saying Omaha. Is Omaha in New York? I don't think so. Let's listen.
Came prepared for mass arrests. That's why the big transport bus is already in the convoy. And right across the road, you can see these so-called law lovers throwing rocks at ICE vehicles. These aren't people defending justice. These are people who thrive on chaos, not on the process of law.
We need an announcement made. Can you help us with that? Okay, perfect. So what we need to do is have the employees in the back be made aware we have a search warrant for the facility.
Attention all nutrition bar confectioner employees. The police are here with a search warrant. Please move to the production hallway and turn off all equipment by hitting the e-safe button. Thank you.
Atención a los trabajadores de nutrition bars confeccioneros.
The agents ordered everyone to stay calm and gather in one place. Meanwhile, other teams moved through the facility, searching for those who had already slipped away into their hiding spots.
Open the door. Abra la puerta. Se fue. It's resistant. Yeah. Hang it. Got it? Necesitas abra la puerta ahora. Tell them back up. Necesitas muevas. Vamos, abra la puerta. Con fuerte. He's in there. I got it. Ready? Yep. Siéntese ahora, siéntese. No se mueva.
Miss, pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom. Pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom. Pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom.
Necesitas poner tus pantalones.
Get her out. Okay, please hurry.
Señoritas, conmigo, a mi compañeros, por favor.
The screening for undocumented workers begins. And while most are lined up, others have wedged themselves into hiding spots you wouldn't even believe existed.
We're just getting a little. Okay, so those are being checked. The citizens. Okay.
Everything in there is.
Well, look at this. All this space for work. And somehow it lands on the illegals to have these positions. People behind the scenes had to coordinate this with somebody that did this job specifically to give the work over to these illegals. And I think that those people should be sought after. I feel like they should be held accountable for what this has transpired to end up being. It should not just be the illegals suffering being deported back. It should also be the people that decided to do this scam, this fraud of the American people. But I don't think they ever go after the people that's orchestrating all this stuff. That's the issue right there. You got to go after the people that are orchestrating the stuff behind the scenes.
Over on this side. Let's go. The quicker we do this, the quicker we get through it, right? Come to this side. Come up in the front, to the side. No, you're not going in your locker. No. And I'll take the pen. I'll take it. Thank you. Hey, that side, all the way.
Yes, we definitely know, Tahaka, that this is the Democrats all the way, but I want names of the Democrats. I want them to be held accountable. I want them to be charged. I want somebody to be fined or loss of position, of power, or in jail, or all of the above. I really hope that Trump turns that and makes that happen. You know what I mean? They got to be the ones that's causing all this stuff. Tahaka also says that ICE needs to come to Virginia and take our governor and her whole cabinet. Wow. Is that where you live? That's crazy. Let's go.
Sometimes you want to move it and lose it, whether on a GLP-1 or just...
Civil warrant in hand, ICE and its federal partners executed the largest workplace enforcement operation in Nebraska.
We did execute a civil search warrant here at this location for personnel from Glen Valley Foods that were using fake IDs, fraudulent IDs, or some type of combination of IDs that weren't real.
Roughly 100 individuals who ICE claims are here illegally were removed from their workplace. Many scattered when officials arrived.
There was plenty of places for folks to hide, so that slowed down our operation. But as of right now, I can report there's been no safety issues and everything is proceeding as planned.
Some were hiding in freezers that hit sub-zero temperatures. EMTs were on hand and checked nearly every individual out to ensure that they were okay. One man hid in a wall compartment and refused to come out even with a canine on hand. Officers say that man pulled box cutters on agents. The district attorney tells us that he will be charged with assault on a federal officer. The owner of this company says that he used E-Verify. The many working for him were pulling the wool over his eyes by using the identities of U.S. citizens.
I don't understand why in the hell.
Bingo. That's the part. They are stealing our identification, y'all. Be very mindful when you're in relation or dealing with foreigners, because again, they are desperate. They like desperate times calls for desperate measures. A lot of people want to befriend you just to get closer to you. I think there was a case where, I don't know if this was American or not, but a lady had killed or unalived her so-called friend, and she took over her identification for like 4 or 5 years before it was discovered. But you know, these things happen more often than you think. We just got to be mindful. This is the time that we're in. You said, yes, I am in Richmond, Virginia, and I am glad the Dems lost that restricted, I can never say that word, redistricting battle. I am happy too, because the only thing that they are doing is undoing the propaganda of the so-called notion of us being black. Their version of being black is everybody, including illegals and immigrants. And they have placed them above us. And they are making us into Pan-Africans against our will. So what the fuck? They're not representing Black Americans at all. They just use our history and they throw everything to the illegals and to the immigrants. So I don't care that these Congressional Black Caucus people are gone. I hope that all the seats are snatched up, you know, because we can reset our voice. We could be heard better. And our demands could be heard and not be muffled by all the other voices of people talking about you're being divisive. Because that's all you're hearing from these people talking about you shouldn't talk about reparations. You shouldn't talk about what's up for you when you have other Black folks that are out here struggling. Like, I don't give a damn about all these other Black folks. They have nothing to do with me. We have nothing to do with these people choosing to come over here from Africa, from the Caribbean, or wherever they come from Salvador or wherever. We have nothing to do. We didn't ask for them to come. And we're not in charge of taking care of these people or caring for these people. We're not doing that shit no more. And I'm so happy that we woke up and we are resuming our power. And we're not caring about what people think about how we feel and how we're moving right now. It's great.
Or use false ID when they can, I think, get a visa.
Gary Rohr tells us that he essentially has to rehire his entire workforce, and he's worried about the business suffering.
We have customers that are counting on us.
Oh, he should be in jail. This man should be in jail. He's worried about people that he knows damn well would love to be hired. Like, come on. Wherever he's at, because I guess they kind of merged all the different places that their ICE has went to. But that white guy saying that should be fined or put in jail. He hired illegals. That should be a crime. You know, if you post it, you know, in the paper or Craigslist or whatever that you need to have people hired immediately for warehouse work, don't you know hundreds of people would be lined up to take over those positions of those illegals? He is lying, talking about nobody would come and work for him. Give me a break.
Bring your paperwork up here.
I mean, it is, we don't need to see more. They gathered up 57 people and maybe 2 or 3 other places they also hit up. That just goes to show you how worse off things are being in regards to these illegals that are set up nice and pretty to come to America by the Democrats. And anyone that's a Black American or anyone that's a real American, whether you're Black or white or have been here for generations, should see that the Democrats have been traitors and they don't care nothing about our future. They don't care about us taking care of ourselves. They want everything to be about the illegals and the immigrants. And we see who is our enemy, and it happens to be the Democrats. It happens to be them. I mean, you cannot convince me that loving on being black is enough to seal the deal and make me feel comforted. I don't give a damn about somebody talking about they black. You're not my kind of black, okay? If you're not a black American that's been here for generations, you are not my kind of black. And we're not doing that flat blackness, that box of blackness, where everybody is seen as the same conveniently for y'all to take advantage of us and advance yourself over us. That's what you guys are doing with that lie you tell. And I'm so glad that we all are waking up. Now, here is another issue. All the scams of Medicaid and Medicare, and, you know, it goes on and on and on. And guess who were involved in that? Some more foreigners. They have attached in every different area to defraud the government, and they were helped. They were told what to do. They were given the green light to do it, and they were allowed to get over and take advantage.
All right, thanks, Dennis. Now to what's being called the largest criminal health care fraud takedown in the Department of Justice history. 243 people across the country charged for milking the system for $712 million in false medical claims and bills, including 5 people here in the Bay Area. For more on this, we turn to our I-Team investigator, Adam Walser. Adam?
Well, Brenda, and federal agents say 2 of the targets of this crackdown were operating a home health care business. They say never treated patients, but collected millions of your tax dollars.
It's an office space that doesn't really do any business.
That's how federal investigators describe Gold Care Home Health Care, which operated for 3 years in this Bush Boulevard office building. An indictment unsealed today says the business's owners stole senior citizens' identities and used them to bill Medicare nearly $2.5 million.
Stole senior citizens' identifications, y'all. Again, that's what they want the most. That's why I warned my people, Black Americans, not to sign up on databases of Dr. Ericana, because she was asking for all your information to be able to use your information as leverage. She was asking for names and numbers and addresses, where you worked, where were you born, where were your parents born, what were their names. Why would she want to have where your parents were born and their names? I mean, people are working hard to steal from us and claim us so that they can destiny swap us out and replace us with their own. That's what has been happening. I've been warning y'all since 2019 to steer clear of Dr. Ericana or anyone that's asking for so much information up front. When you're signing up for investments, they want to know every little thing, every little detail about you. I would be very, very suspect of people asking too much information out of the blue up front. That should be like a red flag, in my opinion.
For home health care services that were never needed or provided.
These fraudsters are stealing the identities of physician providers as well as patients.
Something seemed odd. And it was. Taz Palos rented office space to Amari Perez of Miami and Pilar Garcia Lorenzo of Tampa. When the feds started asking questions,
he just disappeared, and then the rent stopped coming in.
The indictment says both partners used the company's bank accounts as their personal ATMs, withdrawing tens of thousands of dollars at a time. Records show that less than 10 years ago, Garcia Lorenzo claimed bankruptcy, at that time saying she earned less than $10,000 per year. But she recently moved into this home, and neighbors say she's been spending plenty.
I knew something wasn't right. The whole time they've been there, it's been improvements.
So they added this whole portion?
Yeah, all of these. Yeah.
This picture was taken by the county appraiser's office when Garcia Lorenzo bought the house. She quickly paid off the mortgage and improvements began.
That fountain, the new fence, painting, all kinds of stuff.
In the back, a hot tub, a covered porch, and an outdoor kitchen. Mucho dinero, see? Hello? We tried to talk to Garcia Lorenzo, but nobody answered her door today. When we told neighbors about the indictment, they were less than thrilled about all those new improvements.
For people like that to steal what other people really need is not right.
About 900 law enforcement officers nationwide were involved in this crackdown. The FBI says Miami led the nation in healthcare fraud, where 73 defendants were charged with more than $260 million in fraudulent billing.
Thursday morning, they swept down on Duran's company, American Therapeutic Corporation, and its 7 offices, making arrests, seizing boxes of evidence, hauling out computers. Duran has been charged with a dozen counts of healthcare fraud.
The alleged illegal conduct here charged in this indictment is in many respects unlike anything we've seen before in terms of the nature and the size of the scheme.
Prosecutors allege ATC altered patient files, medications, and therapists' notes and paid halfway houses and assisted living facilities to provide patients, even paid kickbacks to some patients.
They prey on the most vulnerable citizens, and those patients, as it relates to community mental health centers, are demented patients, not able to care for themselves.
Duran's attorney said he would not comment on his client's case. Prosecutors say the Miami case is the latest in a litany of schemes run nationwide to defraud Medicare and, in essence, you. We're legitimate taxpayers are really paying for these fraud schemes.
Indeed, this is money that you and I work for. It's coming out of our paychecks every 2 weeks, bi-weekly.
It's estimated Medicare fraud amounts to $60 billion. That's right, $1 billion a year. But the feds are fighting back. This team that took down American Therapeutic Corporation is part of a multi-agency Medicare fraud strike force operating in 7 major U.S. cities. One of their tools, data mining. The strike force looks for spikes, unusually high claims in a region or from an individual provider, and they're able to access that data almost as soon as the claim is filed.
We can see these trends as they happen instead of 6 months, a year down the road after the program has been taken advantage of.
In recent months, the strike force broke up major Medicare fraud schemes in Detroit, Los Angeles, and New York. The problem, federal agents say, is that as soon as they bust one operation, another pops up. The reason? For too long, Medicare has been a cash cow that keeps on giving.
This building is listed as the home office.
Can y'all believe that? These people have made billions off of our stupidity to give these people the benefit of the doubt. And now everything is coming out. I'm happy that things are coming out and everybody cannot pretend to be so sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost and righteous. No, you're not. You got to keep that shit to yourself with all those lies. It's crazy.
Of Serenity Keepers, a drug treatment organization and facility on Daniel Court in Lexington. According to the Secretary of State's office, this is an active LLC registered by Dolores Jordan. Jordan is one of the 2 defendants named on a federal indictment out of North Carolina that accuses the 2 of defrauding Medicaid out of millions of dollars. The other person named is Donald Booker. According to that indictment, Jordan and co-conspirators recruited Medicaid-eligible beneficiaries for housing, among other programs, which were tied back to Booker and Jordan. One of those people who says she was recruited was Alonda Woods.
I was at social services trying to get some assistance, and a guy approached me and asked me, did I have Medicaid and did I need housing? And I told him yes.
Once enrolled in a program, investigators say that recruiters told participants they were required to submit urine samples for drug testing, samples submitted to a lab owned by Booker. Investigators say those samples were medically unnecessary, and this was all part of a scheme that involved millions of dollars and led to the arrests of Donald Booker and Dolores Jordan. As we mentioned, Jordan operates this facility in Lexington. And last week, federal agents dropped by for a, quote, judicially authorized activity as part of an ongoing fraud investigation.
He's not connected, so it's nobody's getting kicked out. That's rumors. That's what happened when you have people who are sitting around bored, have nothing to talk about. They see the FBI. That gets scary.
This is Maurice, who says that he is Jordan's nephew. He says his aunt did know Booker, but doesn't believe they actually did business together. Maurice says that they are doing everything by the book at Serenity Keepers, where he is a peer advisor and is continuing to hold meetings, trying to help people stay clean in recovery.
We haven't done anything illegal. We're not going to do anything illegal. This is not an illegal operation. This is a legal drug treatment program that we are doing here.
We talked to several residents who did not want to speak on camera, but they told LEX 18 they have been reassured that the facility will stay open, but they were alarmed by the presence of federal agents last week, and they hope that this situation in North Carolina does not interrupt their continued path to recovery that they can afford on Medicaid.
Last week, the AG's office announced the first round.
Well, the last two seemed to look like they were Black Americans, but so, I mean, a lot of other people get in on it, including, foreigners that get in on it. So I want to show a couple of other videos about people being pulled over in vehicles by cops, and the fact that one of the ones I'm about to look for, he was deported 10 times and still enters illegally. I think that the charges are not harsh enough, or the consequence is not harsh enough to where these people feel like they're invincible and untouchable because they don't have to do hard time. They don't have to, they throw somebody in jail for a good year and then deport them if they're going to be repeat offenders, if they're going to keep entering illegally. So let's look at this video of this guy that has been told to leave 10 times, and on the 11th time he's finally caught and gonna get deported. But it took the 11th time to take this serious enough, or the fact that the Democrats have been allowing these people to not have harsh consequence and basically just get deported and not be put in jail to where they feel emboldened to come right back.
Homeland security concerns are raised after a 41-year-old man who had been deported multiple times was arrested in Flagler County after deputies found him carrying multiple fake IDs, a passport, a social security card, and more. Deputies stopped a van reported stolen. But a few minutes later, that stolen van became the least of their concerns.
Oh, that's not real. That's not real. These are all felonies. Ooh, felonies. Bag of felonies. Bag of felonies. Felony.
5 fake identities: Mexican passport, U.S. social security card, permanent resident card, 2 consular IDs from 2 different states, all fake, all different names, all different birthdays. Suspect Herman Altamirano Hernandez, Mexican national, deported not once, not twice, 10 times. And what deputies found in that bag made them call ICE immediately. The van got him stopped. The bag got him buried.
Tengo mi ¿Tú tienes licencia de conducir? No. ¿No? ¿Pasaporte? No. ¿No? ¿Citizen? No. ¿Mexico? ¿Por qué me pararon?
time is? Where you pull me over?
You'll find out in a minute. Is this your car?
This dude is illegal and he's asking why you pulled me over. These people are unfreaking believable. They feel entitled. Look at how he is standing up there like, like it's nothing but a chicken wing. Like he is empowered by these Democrats. It's crazy.
No? Whose car is it?
It's my aunt's car.
Your aunt's car? How long you been driving it for?
Not to me saying like 1 month.
1 month?
Yes.
What do you use the car for?
I want to go visit my family here in Florida. That's what I know.
Where do you normally live? Where do you normally live?
They live in Plant City. Plant City?
Plant City? What do you do for work?
This one, children.
What is it?
It's like a pipe.
Pipe?
Yeah.
Miranda? Not yet.
Spanish, do you have it?
I don't have a Spanish card.
Do you have the card?
I got the card.
They have to read it in Spanish to see if you're it.
Well, I don't have a Spanish card. I got it in English.
Back.
I got the same one. It's no English. It's just English, right? I can pull it up on David. Power DMS. Mira, yo necesito tu libre. ¿Comprende?
Sí. No entiendo nada.
Can you read in Spanish?
Yes, a little bit.
Do you want to read in English? Do you understand English more or Spanish more?
Spanish.
Spanish? Okay. Número uno. ¿Sí? ¿Comprende?
Sí.
¿Sí? Número dos.
Número 2 es Okay.
¿Comprende? All right, so whose car is this?
De mi tía.
Tia? To the aunt?
Yeah.
And how long have you had this car?
Oh, yo como una semana más o menos.
Una semana, 1 month?
Yes. Una semana, 1 week.
1 week? 1 month.
1 week.
Before you told me 1 month.
Porque no la manejo. I not drive that car. That's my brother. That's him. Come and see me. That's the...
But you said you were driving it for 1 month.
Pero no. I don't know. Ella me lo metió hace un mes.
Your aunt has had it for 1 month?
Yes.
You've only had it for 1 week?
Yes. That's right.
Did you drive from South Carolina?
Yeah. Okay.
And your aunt lives here or South Carolina?
No, she's in South Carolina.
She's in South Carolina.
Ahí voy a la cárcel, ¿o qué? Me voy a llevar.
Solamente inglés. Solamente inglés.
Bro got enough warrants to unlock a DLC pack, fake IDs in every pocket, and still acting like, wait, why am I being stopped?
Drogas, pistola.
Nada, sí.
No, nada?
Nada.
Okay, mira, come on. Aquí.
Santos. Get gloves on, get gloves. All right.
That's not a guy who made a bad decision. That's infrastructure. Someone built those documents. Someone handed them over. And the question investigators are now sitting with is, who else is walking around with one? Last year, 142,000 people were removed from the U.S. following criminal convictions. Over 1,200 of those happened in Florida courts alone. Flagler deputies didn't go looking for any of it. They ran a plate, made a stop, and found all of it inside a bag on the side of the road. Charges: stolen vehicle, fraudulent identification documents, drug paraphernalia, Florida first-degree misdemeanor, active warrants, U.S. Marshals Service plus Lee County Sheriff's Office. Herman Altamirano.
And he should have been thrown into jail for at least a year so that he could feel the consequence and sent back to Mexico after that year so that he could, know what it's going to feel like if you have a consequence. That's the issue. They don't want them having any type of consequence. And it's really, really wild to me. So as y'all know, let me see, where was I? No, I read that already. Let's see, kind of caught buying 100,000. Oh, I'm not going to play that. Hold on. Looking for a video real quick. I think I had one more video to show before I move on to President Macron of France and his proclamation of being a Pan-Africanist. I was like, oh my God, no, you did not say you were a Pan-Africanist. That just tells you in a nutshell what Pan-Africanism is all about. Is about colonizing you to something else. And, I hope that we wake up from the example that I'm going to show coming up fairly soon. I have one more video to show, and then I'm going to end this conversation. There's a lot to talk about, but if y'all don't know or heard, if you owe $2,500 and upwards beyond that, if you are a father that hasn't been paying child support, or even a mother, I guess, if you're forced to pay, you are going to get your passport revoked. For those that don't know, it just happened, like I believe the 8th of this month. So they're going to be looking to find people that have not been paying on their child care, and they're going to revoke your passport. So if you try to go and leave the country or whatever you do, they're going to tell you, no, you can't leave, or you'll be banned from flying and stuff like that. So just be mindful, if you are owing, that perhaps you should look to start paying that down if you ever want to fly again out of the country. So that's another thing I wanted to talk about. So if I can find that video, if not, I'll move forward. A lot of stuff, though, has been happening. A lot of stuff. I'm just wanting July to be here already. I want the birthright citizenship to be determined. I want, us to understand who's staying and who's going. I know the Haitians are fighting tooth and nail to stay here in America. And they're claiming now to have a new wave of gang violence recently. Hundreds have fled from their homes in Haiti, and they're being kicked out of Dominican Republic, and they just are really not wanted people, which is very fascinating to me that Pan-Africans never tell them about this. Go back to Africa. They always talking that bullshit to us. They don't never want to tell Jamaicans or Haitians or other Caribbeans about the joy of Africa. They save all that bullshit for us. That's why we ought to know by now that we are the people that's being targeted for this switcheroo plan that they have against us. And it's just crazy to me. Oh, here's the story I wanted to show before I go. Can you guys believe this? An Indian scammer was caught impersonating a federal agent, y'all. So they will assume other identities. They will play the role. You guys won't believe this. And then after this, we're going to get to talking about Pan-African bullshit lies, especially by the French president, President Macron.
I'm going to find out who you are. I'm going to put a warrant out for your arrest, and I'm going to come personally put handcuffs on you.
Get ready for a real-life sting operation that takes a shocking turn. Today, we're looking at how the Rio Arriba Sheriff's stopped a scammer who pretended to be a U.S. Marshal and threatened a man with arrest unless he paid a fake fine. What starts as a simple phone call turns into a full takedown, revealing a scam network bigger than anyone expected.
Caravan is still at the top of the driveway. Looks like a Gap white hoodie. They're making the exchange right now. Stand by.
Hey, we're halfway down. What do you want me to do?
Units, go, go, go.
Get out of the ground! Get out of the ground! Get out of the ground! Hand on your back!
That caravan is backing up. Do not fucking move.
Police on there.
All right, Sharon's money back.
Get those.
Yep. Stay right there. See the guy that picked up the money last time? Okay.
Yeah. The whole case began with one scared citizen who did exactly the right thing. After receiving a threatening call demanding money, he contacted the sheriff's office and explained everything. Deputies immediately recognized the scam and set up a controlled sting at the victim's home. The plan was simple. Wait for the scammer to show up and catch him in the act.
All right. What's your name?
Mahendra.
Mahendra? Okay. You ever heard of Miranda rights before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to read it to you.
Videos.
On videos? Okay. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand those rights?
Yes, sir.
With that in mind, do you mind talking to me?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay. So what happened?
Basically, one of the guys reached me out. He asked me, like, I have to go at this location, pick up a package, and just bring it back to the airport.
Okay.
And they will pay me like $1,000.
Where'd you fly out from? From Dallas? Okay. Where's this guy from?
And I came from Pennsylvania to Dallas, and then Dallas to here, like connecting flights.
Okay. So you flew all the way to Dallas to pick up money.
I'm not sure what was in there. Really. Like I just got told, like, right, this is where I have to pick up a package.
So you're telling me that when I dump your phone, there's not going to be text messages and stuff on there talking about how you're going to get money from this guy?
Yes.
And I
just got the location.
You just thought it was totally legit that you just come to some guy's house?
I'm not sure. Like they will pay me $1,000, and I was just going through some stuff. Like I just had a baby, and we are not meeting up the bills and everything, and it was going to help me out a little bit. So that's why.
You realize that you're taking this man's retirement, you're taking everything he's ever worked for. Listen to me for a second. Listen to me for a second. You're taking everything that this man has worked for his entire life. He worked in a great profession to build the money, and you're coming over here and you're taking it from him.
I totally understand that, sir, but that's not what I'm doing. I just got told.
Okay, but if I got a phone number, and how did they contact you originally?
They contacted me over the phone. He got nothing to do. He just
picked you up from Santa Fe?
Yeah.
Soon enough, a vehicle pulled into the driveway. The suspect stepped out, confident and ready to collect what he thought was easy cash. But the moment he approached the house, deputies rushed in from every direction. The suspect was ordered to the ground and detained as units secured the area.
So, do you know this guy at all?
Never met him.
How did he contact you?
It's like there are a few friends that's where it came from via.
So he's a friend of a friend?
Yeah, like 2-3 friends, and then that guy knows somebody.
So just all of a sudden he's like, hey, I know you're in Pennsylvania. I want you to fly to New Mexico to go pick up a package for me, and I'll give you $1,000 for it.
So basically what happened, I used to live in Virginia, and I just moved down to Pennsylvania some time ago, and we had a business in like Virginia. I never did this. This is my first time. I moved to Pennsylvania. It's a lot expensive, and as of I'm working, I'm not reaching the mids. So I was talking to my friend, like, all right, this is the case. I might do something, like start working on the side to make extra money, or my wife, I'll take care of the baby and my wife can work. So that's how, like, we were just talking casually. And one day he just suddenly called me and he was like, I have something like that. If you want to do it, it's all good. I was like, okay, I just have to pick up a packet, then I'm good. Like, is there any drugs or anything like that? So he was like, no, there's nothing drugs. I was like, okay. So he told me like 2 days ago, and like, you have to fly there. I was like, okay. He was paying for all the tickets and everything, and I flew here and happened. Okay. I didn't know anything about it.
Is this the first time you've been here?
Yes.
This is not the second time?
No.
Were you here last Sunday?
No. No, it wasn't me. Because obviously, like, my friend, he was my partner, he looks like me.
Is he the one?
I'm not sure. I don't know anything about nobody.
Okay.
So I think you're lying, bro. I think you're lying to us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get all the...
Why would I lie? I have like
because you're trying to steal my...
Because you're facing...
You're gonna stand right here. I'm gonna make a phone call, okay?
Sure. Like, I would not lie. Like, I have a 7-month-old kid.
You're trying to cover your ass. That's what exactly you're trying to do. Because have you ever been to jail in the United States?
No.
No?
I've never got convicted with anything.
Yeah, well, the fear of... You're very close to going there, my friend.
Well, sir.
So I would understand why you would be untruthful with me and us right now.
Well,
I do this for a living.
I totally understand, sir. I respect you. But at the same time, like, I have nothing to hide that's gonna save me. I'm just being honest to you. If I did something wrong, yeah, I have to face the consequences. But at the same time, I didn't know what was going on and all that. I was just picking up a package for somebody. If I knew, I would have never did this. Because I would rather work 80 hours a week than doing something like that.
No.
But
I don't believe one thing you just told me.
I used to work 120 hours a week, sir. But right now, the things are not that great, and I got offered for $1,000. I was like, okay, just package, I'll do it. And
looks like you're doing all right with those brand new pair of Nikes, brand new shirt and brand new pants. Yeah. Looks like you're doing all right with that gold chain too. Doesn't look like you're hurting for money very much.
No, this is not. I spend money on it.
Everything you're telling me right now is going straight out the door. I'm not the officer handling this, okay?
That doesn't mean that I bought it. Like, if you see the marks on the gold, like, you know, the mark there has the...
Whatever you're telling on me is, I don't believe one damn word you're telling me.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
But if you see the marks on it, like...
And we shouldn't believe anything that they're saying. That's the part right there. They're good liars. They know how to pull from, seeming decent. Oh, talking all nice and sweet, not showing no aggression. Because they don't show no aggression, because they're not talking all loud and belligerent, they think that stunt is going to work and warm into the hearts and minds of those that look at them in a different light compared to the Americans. We don't get that type of forgiveness. We don't get that at all. But it's too many of these type of cases to count. It goes on and on and on. We'll see what happens, and then we'll conclude this portion of the live. We'll go on to talk about France and President-Macron.
I think so. U.S. have some other mark, and India has some other mark. I think so. You will find that on the chain.
Oh, okay.
My mom got it made for me and my brother, like last year.
Yeah.
And my brother just came down.
You're not hurting that bad, bro. You picked the wrong people. You picked the wrong. New Mexico is the wrong state to come, bro.
If I knew, I wouldn't have.
That's all I have to say to you.
I would have turned down at the same minute.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you're gonna regret it, and you're gonna regret it for the rest of your life.
Once in custody, he claimed he knew nothing, that he was just picking up a package. When investigators quickly saw through it, he had flown across multiple states, was following specific instructions, and had a story that didn't add up. Even more suspicious, His phone started ringing nonstop from the people coordinating the scam.
This is Detective Jacobs of the Rio Arriba County Sheriff's Office. We got your boy and we're coming for you, okay? Just put you on notice. Do you feel good about yourself scamming old men out of their money? Yeah, I'm an actual cop. I'm not a fake U.S. Marshal like you say you are. I'm gonna find out who you are. And I'm gonna put a warrant out for your arrest, and I'm gonna come personally put handcuffs on you. Oh, I will.
Who do you think you are, he says?
I'm the guy that's gonna put a federal warrant out for your arrest eventually through the FBI.
Oh, please. Oh, that's up. He's ballsy.
What you got to say?
I'm stupid if you're stupid.
How about you send me a picture of you, then I'll send you a picture of me.
Why don't you send me a picture of your wife?
No, I'm good. Just send you. If you're as big and bad as you think you are, just send a picture.
Is he drunk? What again? Sounds like it.
I said, if you think you're as big and bad as you are, just go ahead and send this phone a picture. You're really far away. Can't hear you. Okay, have a good day.
Block that number for him, too.
Yep. Put in your password. Hold on just a second.
Yeah, what's up? Who's this? Who's this?
Hold on, I'll give you a call right back.
What's up, Jacob? You say, who are you? Well, I have Orlando here. This is a friend of his. Orlando? Yes, it's Orlando. What happened? They arrested the guy that picked up my money. And I hope you can. I hope you can send some of my money back, or most of all of it. What you got from me last Sunday. Your money will come back on time, as I have told you.
You're really good at playing this part, bro, but we're gonna find out who you are. So don't worry about that. You picked the wrong county to do this kind of shit in.
Deputies answered the calls themselves, confronting the ringleader, who boldly kept pretending he was a federal agent. But the moment he realized he was speaking to actual law enforcement, the tone changed, and that phone call gave investigators even more evidence they needed.
All right. So as of right now, you are going to be under arrest for fraud. Okay. Like I said, you know what's going on. So hold on, listen. So here's what's going to happen. Okay. And what I want you to do is I want you to think really hard about this. Okay. On our way back to the office. Okay. You're an accessory to this. Okay. Whether you say that you believed it or not, what I want you to do is I want you to think really hard by the time we get back to the office that I'm going to talk to you, okay? And then between here and there, I'm going to call the FBI, okay? Because you came from different states, and now the money that you were supposed to pick up reaches over $100,000, there's a good chance the FBI is going to pick this up, okay? So I want you to be a witness in this, not a defendant eventually, okay? So I want you to think long and hard about telling me the truth, and we'll get over there, we'll talk again, okay? Yep. All right, perfect.
So there you have it there. Another one bites the dust. They're not invincible any longer. They're not kept free and clear any longer, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it, I'm loving it, I'm loving it. So now I want to transition over to talk about this president of France, man. Let me find that video where he outright claimed to be a damn Pan-African. I was like, what? Say what? Oh, if he could be a Pan-African, of course, the way in which Africans say the word to us is the same way. It's about colonization. They think we're supposed to come nice and friendly about being colonized by Africans, and we're not going out like that. So whatever you guys have in mind, you're going to have to change whatever you thought, because we ain't coming. We ain't going. I would suggest Pan-Africans and all these Africans begging us online to be involved with them to think of a plan B. That's what y'all need to do. Think of what's his name? Pres.Macron, a plan B, because plan A is not operational. It's not going to be operational. Let me see. Says he's a Pan-African. Pan-Africanist. He wants to stay in charge over Africans. So now he's using their lingo to claim to claim their same thing that they're using on us.
Nous sommes les vrais panafricanistes. Nous croyons que l'Afrique est un continent. Et ce continent a beaucoup à bâtir, c'est le plus jeune au monde. Il y a un coup d'État au Mali. Vous ne voulez plus de la France parce que vous ne voulez plus vous battre contre le terrorisme. On s'en va. Malheureusement, l'actualité montre que ça n'était sans doute pas la meilleure décision que les putschistes maliens avaient pris pour leur pays. Et en effet, c'est un continent que je ne veux plus que la France regarde d'un côté comme étant un précaré, où les dirigeants d'entreprises auraient en quelque sorte tous les droits ou tous les contrats qui leur seraient garantis parce que c'était l'Afrique francophone, où parfois certains considéraient que la France donnait une forme d'assurance garantie quoi qu'il advienne en étant là à faire ou défaire les gouvernements. C'est fini. Depuis 2017, c'est terminé cette époque.
Actually, Pan-Africanism is a way of colonization. They call it anti-colonial movement, but it's actually a tool used to colonize or attempt to colonize freed Black Americans over here in America, minding our own damn business. I really feel in my heart that a lot of Africans and other immigrants that are melanated feel some kind of way about us not being governed over by a melanated person. And this is what they desire most of all to do against us. And so it's very telling that this France president is using their own words against them about what they use against us because it means the same exact thing. And it's actually exposing Pan-Africanism for what it really is because it's a form of colonization. But let me now turn to what he did that really stunned a lot of Africans, but I'm not surprised. He got them whipped in order in this African summit that he was at. And he kind of like stole the microphone and went kind of buck wild. Let me show you what he did. And then we'll talk about what he said in his conference. But listen to this, y'all. This is unbelievable right here.
Them go to our dumping sites, destroy our environment, open air burning, air pollution, and our beaches are dirty. So then...
Already? You're not waiting your turn.
I will make order. Excuse me, everybody. Hey. I'm sorry, guys. But it's impossible to speak about culture, to have people like that super inspired coming here, making a speech with such a noise. So this is a total lack of respect. So I suggest, if you want to have bilaterals or speak about something else, you have bilateral rooms or you go outside. If you want to stay here, we listen to the people and we play in the same game. Okay? Thank you.
Look at how the African guy was looking, though. He was talking about improving or developing something in Africa, and that triggered him because he wants to be the one that has the authority to tell them what they're going to be developing. And so he stepped in and said, "You out of order." Listen to what he said again. I'm going to play it one more time. What he said to the woman when she said, it's not your turn. He was like, "We're getting an order." He says, "We're getting an order." Listen to this and watch how the African guy looks when he is told that he's out of order and he's speaking on things that he shouldn't be speaking on. Let me see if I can put where you can read it, what he said.
Them go to our dumping sites, destroy our environment, open air burning, air pollution, and our beaches are dirty. So
he's talking about his beaches being dirty. He's talking about the environment in which they are living in right now and how he would like to see those things improve. And immediately, this president of France steps in and says, we're not talking about what hasn't been built. We're going to talk about what I'm going to, tell y'all what y'all going to be building. So he steps in immediately. This is not even but seven seconds in. Look at this again.
Them go to our dumping sites, destroy our environment, open air burning, air pollution, and our beaches are dirty. So then...
Already? You're not waiting your turn.
And we make order. Excuse me, everybody.
He says, I would like order. He wants to be the one that dictates. He wants to be the one that's leading the charge. He's stepping in and letting Africans know that he's the one that's going to dictate whatever's going to happen over there in Africa. And you're going to love it. This is what he did. This is how the Africans wish they could speak to us. But notice, they move very quietly. They're very soft-spoken. But inside their head and in their hearts, they want to sound just like this guy right here.
Hey! I'm sorry, guys. But it's impossible to speak about culture, to have people like that, super inspired, coming here, making a speech with such a noise. So this is a total lack of respect. So I suggest, if you want to have bilaterals or speak about somebody else, something else, you have bilateral rooms or you go outside. If you want to stay here, we listen to the people. And we play in the same game. Okay? Thank you.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is called...
Aujourd'hui, par votre mobilisation et ce qui a été fait, ce sont 23 milliards d'euros d'investissement annoncés pour le continent africain. 23 milliards d'euros. C'est 14 milliards d'euros d'entreprises françaises qui sont...
He's saying that he's going to contribute upwards of $14 billion to help them be able to have some type of building over there based off of what he directs to happen over there. And I'm kind of understanding a little bit because Africans don't know how to build. If they did, they would do it. There are a lot of engineers that don't really talk about what they build over there in Africa, or if it is built, it's not built very well to brag about it. So he's like taking the initiation and saying, hey, I'm the one that's going to help you guys get y'all shit together. Y'all don't know how to get y'all shit together. Let's stop playing games and talking about woe is us and the environment and all the beaches and all this other crap, because y'all don't know what y'all doing. I'm here to tell you what we're going to do together. I'm the one that's going to lead the charge. I am the so-called Pan-Africanist that you've been waiting for. Because all that talk about Pan-Africanism and no Africans going back to Africa to help build is very interesting. It just goes to show you that they're not really serious about building up Africa, but colonizing us. But listen to this.
Des grands groupes, des ETI, des PME qui investissent 14 milliards d'euros sur le continent, et je salue tous leurs dirigeants qui sont là présents, qui investissent 14 milliards d'euros, évidemment au Kenya, mais dans tous les pays ici présents, ici, et qui vont créer plus de 250 000 emplois directs en France et en Afrique.
Okay, now I found a video of him speaking in English, and well, not speaking in English, but a better version of him being understood as he speaks. And I want to hear, because I haven't heard this video yet, but he did get questioned by various people that had questions for the Kenyan president, Ruto, and also Macron, the president of France. And it's going to be very interesting how they talk, because again, President Ruto is submitted right next to President Macron. He talks the big talk of, you know, being able to leverage their ways of building, but I think he just says it to save his face. He says a lot of big things, but he doesn't mean it. He doesn't mean it at all.
Thank you so much, President Macron and President Ruto. My name is Sophie Mkwena from the South African Broadcasting Corporation. My question is that there's a perception out there, particularly from the Africans on the continent, that the continent was shortchanged during colonialism, and we are likely going to do the same, see the same. Can you kindly assure Africans on the continent that this time around this will not be the case? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bonsoir messieurs les présidents, Anthony Leboss pour la chaîne française FM TV. Une question d'abord à tous les deux, après les accords.
1 second you're tucking them in, the next, your heart's racing.
So some major agreements, you've got the G7 upcoming, and Mr. Ruto, you will be representing Africa. The question, what progress, tangible progress has been made? What do you expect to get at the G7 with the others present? And the second question for President Macron, and concerning the hantavirus risk, could you please tell us, is France ready to face another epidemic if this indeed constitutes? And we know that that there are lots of questions being asked about France's health protocols. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellencies. I'm Gloria Musimbi on your far right. So my question is, Your Excellency, President Ruto, as you prepare for the G7 summit and as a representation of Africa, what are the 3 key priorities emerging from this declaration that you intend to table before the global leaders? Thank you.
Good evening, President Ruto and President Macron. My name is Tendaisha Chitima and I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm from the creative sector. As we conclude the Africa Forward Summit, I would like to know what you think is the most important issue right now for humanity. What do you believe is our greatest responsibility? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me begin with a question from Sophie. Sophie, I think, from SABC. And yes, this continent was a victim of brutal colonialism, all the way to slave trade, exploitation, and everything in between. The African Union led in the charge for independence. We now have 54 independent states. You have asked us what assurance we can get that this will not be repeated again. I can tell you without fear of any contradiction that we do not need any assurance from anybody. We will do it ourselves. We will not allow ourselves again, as leaders from this continent, we will take charge of our own destiny. And that is why a conference like this is taking place in Nairobi, because we are recalibrating our relationship with our partners.
And we have been absolutely clear that this is a relationship of equals. At the heart of this relationship is sovereign equality.
And I would say that Ruto is very delusional. He knows what France has done with the 14 other countries, Burkina Faso, getting out of dealing with France, Niger, and what's the other one? There was one more. Anyways, he didn't like that. A whole lot of suspect stuff has been happening with the AES over there in the Sahel, in Mali. That's the place, Mali. There was a recent some type of defense person that was unalived, not that long ago in Mali, and they're trying to take over Mali. And all that disruption of these jihadists or these insurgents, whatever they're called, they're Islamic though, and they just want to like take over and establish a whole nother government, and these people that's doing it are African, but they are supposedly being supported by France and others that give them the weapons to go do what they're doing over there. And that type of stuff is going to continue to happen because you have too many people that's willing to be sellouts, including presidents like Ruto. He knows damn well that France is going to always have more leverage than anybody in Africa that he's dealing with. But he's trying to make it seem like we're on an even kill type of situation. I'm in control of what's about to happen and how we're going to be moving. Don't worry at all. I went through all this conversation with this French president, and we're going to be fair to one another. But France has always showed that they're more predator type. They're a predator type, just like people that want to conquer something. They're used to being over these Africans, and he's not wanting to let that go. So he's moving now to Kenya or east part of Africa to bring about what he's been doing to the other 14 countries that are trying to get rid of him now. But he talks a good game. He sounds like he's assuring and that he's confident in what he's saying, but it's all lies. None of this is true.
At the heart of this relationship is not extraction, is not exploitation. It is investment for mutual benefit. And we are not entitled. We are not asking, to be favored. No. We are asking that we know we have responsibilities. We also know that others have responsibilities. And the reason why we had a candid conversation this afternoon, even amongst ourselves as Africans, there are things we can do for ourselves. The challenge is when you go and seek for help for things you can do for yourself. We cannot continue that way. And we are saying we are up to the task. Let me give you an example. We had a candid conversation.
How is that possible when most Africans don't want to go back to Africa to do what he's saying? They're looking for ways to stay out of Africa and be gone for good if they can help themselves. But he's just giving all this, I guess it's called gaslighting or smoke and screen, I don't know, distraction of conversation. When, again, France has been known to do what they've been doing. You can't change the colors of these types of people that have been dominating you for centuries. They're never wanting to give up the leverage and the power over you. Nobody wants to give up power once they have had it over you. And that's why I think Africans are so obsessed over us, because they want to exert some form of power over us. They have never been able to colonize nobody. This is why they're fervently wanting to colonize us. And we all are saying, hail to the gnaw. There ain't no so-called unity, because if it was unity, it would be found in Africa minus French, UK, America, and all the other places. You guys are not legitimate in your own country as leaders. Why in the world would we as Black Americans want to be subjected under African rulership when they can't even make sound decisions for themselves to help their own people out? We don't want no parts of anything to do with Africa. And I have to say this because I've been hearing more and more FBAs claiming that they want citizenship in Africa. They want land. They want minerals. I don't want shit because I already know what they're on. So y'all are speaking for yourself. That's why I made myself more distinct in my identity as being indigenous, American Black. When I say indigenous, I mean I only want to be dealing with America. I don't want no claim, no dealings. I don't want to go to Africa. I don't want to visit Africa. I don't want nothing to do with them because, again, it's a long game for them to try to trick us out of our birthright, offering you the goosey soup and all this other foo-foo and all this other type of stuff. Go over there and dance with the drum and all that. And before you know it, you're going to be colonized by them. You're going to be under their dominion and you're going to give them power over you, which I would never submit myself to do because I already have a devil, so to speak, here in America. I don't want to deal with two. I got one already. I don't need an extra devil. So I'm just being honest. I don't want no parts. I don't want no land because it's all a charade. It would be a fake, a pump fake that they would claim that they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And once they get you over there in mass number, they can change their mind and flip the script on you. And I would never give them the opportunity to do that to me. So the answer will always be I only want to deal with Black Americans and I only want to deal with Americans, period. So that's where I stand for those that may not know, because there are people out here talking about they don't mind the idea of moving to Africa. They wouldn't mind the idea of having free land. They wouldn't mind the idea of getting citizenship over there. I don't want nothing to do with Africa, period, because I already see the writing on the wall. And I'm not about to be a pawn in the game that they're playing. They're not using me for leverage. No, you ain't going to be able to say nothing about me going over there and saying nothing on the account of wanting to be involved with Africa. And that should be my prerogative. That's not hate. Just like I don't never want to go to Germany. I don't never want to go to Germany. I don't never want to go necessarily to Australia and other places. I'm not propping up Africa as a reverence of worship. That's what I'm not doing. But somehow people get offended when someone that is declared Black, I'm a Black American though, but y'all somehow want to extract the meaning of Black to mean African, but that's not the way I mean. That's not the way I mean being Black. I mean being Black as being from the soil of America. We've always used the term Black, and when I say Black, I'm not even thinking about other immigrants. So I'm not allowing people to brainwash me or manipulate me with using, the word Black as being a race and all that type of talk. That's that's colonization talk, and y'all should know by listening to Ruto and this president of France, because that's what they're talking on. Not wanting to get colonized again, but it's inevitable because you're still dealing with the same demon that has colonized you before, and he's going to do it again.
This afternoon, that while we go and look for financing our projects using other people's money, we have money in Africa We have $4 trillion of savings in our pension funds, in our insurance companies, in our reinsurance companies, and yet we are not using that money to fund our own development. The first thing we need to do, and we have agreed with Africa Development Bank, we have agreed with Afri-Exim, we have agreed with Trade Development Bank, Africa Finance Corporation, that before we go and look for money from other people, we must structure our own DFIs to unlock these $4 trillion of our own resources to finance our development.
That sounds wonderful. Wouldn't it be nice if he could make a call to Ghana, President Mahama, to President Tinubu, to Captain Toure and others surrounding where they're at and say, hey, let's have a Zoom call. Let's get together. Let's strategize. Let's change some things from what we've been doing, because we see the world around us is evidently changing very fast. And we have to make a way for our people not to be in the position of migrating and taking risks to go to other countries all the time. Until you see that, until they're really serious about doing that and talking amongst themselves and actually, you know, figuring out a solution within Africa, they're not serious. They're not going to ever be taken serious, especially by someone like me. Because every time I turn around when I'm on TikTok or YouTube or listening to different platforms, I'm constantly hearing our name brought up as the solution to Africa. And we don't want to be used as a solution for y'all. We're not wanting to be servants to y'all. I'm just being honest with y'all. I might be using language you don't like to hear, but y'all constantly talk to us about slavery all the damn time. Like, that's a good conversation to have all the damn time. I don't want to be enslaved by Africans. I don't want to be indebted by them. I don't want to take on their debt as my own. I don't identify with Africa. I'm not from there. I don't have any traditions or anything connected to Africa, and I'm not going to carry myself as if I do. The issue that we're having is Pan-Africans from all over the globe have gotten together with Democrats. They have gotten together with other Pan-Africans and other immigrants, and they have decided decisions for us, just like thinking about Marcus Garvey, you know, when he came over in 1912 or whatever that was, and he called himself being a leader over us. And they never let that go. Everybody's striving to have leadership over us. This is why everybody's claiming suddenly to be Black, because that's what they envision. We want to have authority over you. We want to tell you what to do with your money, what to think about, how to feel about stuff. Don't think about your own family and your own survival. Don't think about your own future and your own goals. You need to submit yourself and think about what we tell you to think about. And that's why we are clashing right now, because you can't tell us what to think. You can't tell us how to feel. You can't tell us what to believe. And you can definitely not tell me what to worship. And until Africans and Pan-Africans understand that we're not your slave, we're actually free people that have earned the right to make their own decisions, to do as they want to do, we're going to keep having issues, and we're never going to get along. No matter how good you may sound. We got the memo with Barack Obama, sounding good. We'll never allow somebody talking nice and sweet and softly to move us, no longer. So we just want to be left alone. We don't want to be a part of y'all matrix of confusion and chaos. Y'all need to get together and figure this shit out. And hopefully Ruto is telling the truth, but I don't think he is.
So we will not allow ourselves to be exploited again. Because we know what we must do. And what we are saying is we don't want to also blame others for our own mistakes. President Kagame told us today that nobody owes us development. We owe it to our own selves. So we mustn't look for favors where we can do it ourselves. Secondly, Aliko Dangote told us today that our own private sector in this continent must first and foremost invest in our continent before we go looking for other investors from elsewhere. The question people ask, if our own private sector does not have the confidence to invest in our continent, why would private sector from elsewhere have the confidence? If we are not ready to mobilize our own resources here in Africa, resources that are available to us in pension funds, in insurance companies, why would anybody else use their savings to finance our own development? So first things first, we must take the lead as Africans, as policymakers, as private sector leaders in taking charge of our own development. Any other support we get from friends like Macron and other people will be secondary. To answer your
So he says, let me see what you got to say in the comment section. You said, The Rock says, as Africans run from homelands, the Europeans, Asians, Indians, and Arabs are moving in and taking over. That's exactly what they're doing. A lot of these immigrants are going wherever they can go, to the UK, to America, to Canada, to Africa, and they're all in the same, they're playing the game of takeover. All these foreigners from everywhere they go, that's what they do. That's the truth. You said, Tahaka says, I can't go because I can't take my guns to defend myself and family, plus I am on my homeland. Unfortunately, Tahaka, they will use every bit of leverage of you even visiting there. To them, you visiting them is acknowledging that you so-called believe in the hype of the transatlantic slave trade and that all your relatives started in Africa and that you are believing the hype that maybe one of your ancestors came from Ghana when you go visit the dungeons and all. I'm not allowing myself to partake in none of that. I'm not giving no inkling of a clue of a confirmation of thought or belief, because they're crafting a case against us and trying to claim us. Like, I think in Chicago, somebody told me right now they're collecting people's DNA. They're asking people to give up their DNA so that they can work on getting more information pertaining to Black Americans. Why? And it's all from Pan-Africans and Africans that are linked together. They're calling themselves trying to build a case to claim us. They're trying to leverage this information to make it significant and make it apply to everybody that's over here in America. And this is why one of the things that I feel we should do, and I did, was petition the president and also write, your name and what you want to be called and why, in case you need to go and sue these people. Because I foresee them attempting to go to the Supreme Court and have a case about us. Like, I think that they're working very determined to try to undermine our American identity. And they would love to strip away our American identity and make it into African. Again, against our will, against our consent, and against, what we believe us to be. That's why it's very important to be very clear about who you say you are and be efficient in how you move around these people. You cannot give them nothing. You cannot sit on the fence, in my opinion, because they're trying to do a takeover. They would love to be able to colonize us and have that warm tingling feeling from overpowering somebody. That's what they're on. They don't think we see it, but I've been seeing it. I saw it the first time I heard Dr. Ericana as an ambassador talk about how we need to accept being African, and eventually it's not going to matter what you think. It is what it is. She would say little tidbits about it ain't going to matter after a while. Like, little sly little statements that resonated with me, that she has something in mind about how to maneuver. They got lawyers, y'all. They got people, trying to collect bones and so-called, they want to get our genealogy records and stuff. They try to do that. So again, we are the targeted group here in America. We are the only Black group that does not have melanated people reigning over us. We're not living under the, inefficiency of these melanated countries. I mean, there's maybe a couple of melanated places in the Caribbean that might be okay. I haven't really done the research, but I'm talking about the ones that are always talked about: Haiti, Jamaica, other places in Africa. You look at their countries, 90% of them are not doing so well, ran by melanated people. And I think that there's a big jealousy about us not having to deal with that. And so they would love to see us in the position that they have been in. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. They want to trade places with us. I did hear of a person on someone's platform talk about, why can't they just trade places with us? Have them go to Africa and we come to America. They outright said it. That's what they're on, y'all. Don't be fooled.
Question. We will not allow ourselves again to be slaves of anybody. We are going to take charge of our own future. Number two, somebody has asked tangible progress. What tangible progress have we achieved here? And how are we going to approach the G7? Let me say the following, that we have agreed on three fundamental things. We've agreed, number one, is we must develop an innovative mechanism of raising resources at scale, at speed, for our own development, and it starts with us. All we will be asking at the G7, in fact, we will not be asking for money from the G7. What are we asking from the G7? We are asking them to put in call-up capital. We are asking them to put in guarantee, not money. We will use our own institutions to mobilize resources to undertake our own infrastructure development. That's what
I'm glad he's saying it, but do y'all believe it though? Do y'all believe it though? That's what I would like to know. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Tahaka says, what? Africa have no money. All money is backed by Europe. I think they do have resources though. Like he says, they're sitting on top of trillions and trillions of dollars. They're just not motivated to strategize and collectivize themselves on the continent because they feel indebted to the colonizers and they're puppeted. They don't want to take the risk of being unalived or whatever like that. They don't want to take the risk, but I don't believe what he's saying. But again, it's a good talk. He has to say something, I guess. You said, The Rock says, Ruto is dreaming. Africans don't get along. and they are not charitable with one another. They definitely are not charitable. You never lied about that, nor help one another, but always backstabbing one another and in war with one another. Exactly. Call, you do a StreamYard panel discussion once a month. I don't have StreamYard. I was never meant, AI Hal, to do a platform or a channel. I only did it because I felt like too many people were showcasing themselves as being ignorant, and they were distracted with entertainment and being foolish and attacking one another, doing the most. And I just wanted to be a voice of where we are here and now and how we should be thinking and looking at stuff here and now. So I just give out videos on how I feel and, you know, tell the truth of how I'm looking at stuff. That's about it. I don't want to get StreamYard because there's a lot of chaos when people get on platforms, especially on TikTok. I noticed people pretending to be FBA. They're doing the most. They're trying to scandalize our name and all that. I just want to be a voice of truth, no matter how people perceive it. I mean, I'm not the best well-spoken person around, but I'm telling the truth as I see it, period. You said Macaroni is the most authentic Pan-African to come out of France. Oh, you said Marconi. You think so? He's using own money. Never his own money. Probably not. You're right about that. Let's go.
We're going to the G7 to do. Simple. You know, in the past, we've been going to ask for aid and loans and things and more. We are saying there are things we can do by ourselves. Number two, we will be having a conversation as an outcome of this meeting on our human capital dividend. Our young people, the people of this continent, are the greatest asset that we have. They will form the workforce of the future, they will form the market of the future, and they will drive innovation, creativity, artificial intelligence, and technology. So we have one of the biggest assets. What we have agreed is how do we make that, how do we build the capacity for that asset? Through education, through training, making sure they have access to the internet, making sure that they have access to technology. The rest, the young people of this continent can do it for us and for them.
What I see an issue with is they have way too many people on the continent. 1.4 billion people. All those people that are so young, under 20 years old, they all have to be fed every day. They all have to be clothed every day. They all need opportunities all the time as they get older. And unless the Africans do that great sacrifice of going back and trying to make some definitive change, I see it really having a big war over there. I really see there's going to be some strife and some struggle and some famine and all kinds of stuff because they're not doing enough to match the population that's growing ever so increasingly. And all they seem to know to talk about is us, except for him right here. The only thing I can really say about Ruto right here, I appreciate him not bringing up Black Americans. My God, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Let me give you an example. Earlier today, Tariq Nasheed did a live, and a woman claimed to be a Black American but sounded foreign. She said something very interesting I want you guys to listen to. And what she said, I've heard many of times by Africans and Pan-Africans. They all seem to think that we should do all this stuff for everybody. Like we got all the means and we got all the talent. Why can't we sacrifice ourselves for the better good of other people? I want you to hear, because this right here is very telling what happened earlier. Let me see. I'm going to find it real quick.
I wanted to ask you a question.
Okay, hold on. By the way, if you guys have not yet, can you do me a favor by hitting the like button? I would greatly appreciate that. Hold on, let me rewind this. Okay, here we go. Now, this lady, listen to what she has to say. It's going to be very, very interesting.
Native, hop on in, sir. Said you wanted to read a source. What's up, Civilized Native?
Hey, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What's on your mind?
So I wanted to read this source. It's really important. I've been showing it like on my panels and other panels.
Now, what's the source about?
So it's about how our people went to Africa, right? This is a source specifically written by a Kenyan man in the year 1939, April 29th, 1939. And the title says, "The American Negro is Africa's Hope." I just wanted to read 2 paragraphs really quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I'm assuming so y'all can read it with me. "It is not reasonable to believe that after spending many dollars for bettering the living conditions among Africans, that they have not improved and as they were before. It is believed that the ugly picture of savagery is made by the missionaries because they believe that if they tell of the advancement of the country, the public will cease to give to the cause. The American Negro has played a large part in the eradication of the common disease in the Congo," continued Colonial El Muhammad de Ali V. "With the aid of various missions established by the numerous denominations, through bubonic plague, sleeping sickness, and black water fever are rarely heard of in Africa today. Prior to this time, the country had the highest unalivement rate. Now it has the lowest. This is not the only way in which the mother country is being benefited by the generosity of its American citizens. There are many Native Africans who are enjoying educational privileges in many colleges throughout the United States made possible by the efforts of the race." So I thought that was really important. A lot of times you get different Africans up on panels who forget their history. Our people who were free.
So she wants to emphasize how some of the freed Negroes in earlier times did some things to help out, reach out to Africa, and made some strides in medicine. Or I remember a Black American went to Ethiopia and helped out President Selassie, or King Selassie, whatever his title is, flew an airplane or whatever jet and helped out in the war. But I'm here to tell y'all, we're not on that. We're not here to be sacrificed for y'all. We're here to survive and to uphold what our ancestors sacrificed for us to be able to thrive and be. We do not want to be used up and spat out. But you clearly hear her get excited about, oh yeah, the Negro, they did this for Africans. They sacrificed this for Africans. This is what we gotta go do. And we're not signing up for that. That's what y'all want us to do. That's what everybody has decided that we're gonna do. Everybody's decided that we're gonna build up Africa. No, we're not. You guys decided that we're going to Africa. No, we're not. You guys are decided that we're going to be called or claim Africa. No, we're not. No, no, no means no. We're not interested. You have 10% of us who still hang on to Pan-African talk, but I'm not a Pan-African. I don't believe in it because it's not real. It's as if I'm talking about Santa Claus coming to town and coming down the chimney and putting presents around the tree. It really never happened, but it's said over and over again as a belief that some kids have about Christmas. I'm not believing in a falsehood. Pan-Africanism is a falsehood. It is instructing someone other than themselves to sacrifice for them. And they want us to be the fall guy. They want us to be the sacrificial lamb. I'm going to play that again. I want you to really hear closely what she said and how excited she got saying it. That's the part you need to peep.
It's Africa's hope. I just wanted to read 2 paragraphs really quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I'm assuming so y'all can read it with me. It is not reasonable to believe that after spending many dollars for bettering the living conditions among Africans, that they have not improved and as they were before. It is believed that the ugly picture of savagery is made by the missionaries because they believe that if they tell of the advancement of the country, the public will cease to give to the cause. The American Negro has played a large part in the eradication of the common disease in the Congo, continued Colonial El Muhammad de Ali V. With the aid of various missions established by the numerous denominations, through bubonic plague, sleeping sickness, and black water fever are rarely heard of in Africa today. Prior to this time, the country had the highest unalivement rate. Now it has the lowest. This is not the only way in which the mother country is being benefited by the generosity of its American citizens. There are many Native Africans who are enjoying educational privileges in many colleges throughout the United States made possible by the efforts of the race. So I thought that was really important. A lot of times you get different Africans up on panels who forget their history. Our people who were free took their sources and resources over to Africa, provided them these different things. So much so they eradicated disease from these people, then gave them education and the means to come to America and then be civilized. So I just thought that was really important. I know
Civilized. Hold on, civilized. Now where's, because I hear a little, you almost have a Caribbean accent. Anybody Caribbean in your family?
No, absolutely not. You said this last time some of your people said I was Puerto Rican. No, I'm on panels all the time. I grew up in Jersey and Virginia. My father's in the Navy. I have 0 Caribbean in my family.
0? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys catch what she said, that we're to take our resources, our talents to Africa? That's what all of immigrants that are melanated somehow have come to the conclusion that we ought to be doing as Americans. They don't need to do it. They don't think they got to do it. They think that we should be doing it. And I'm telling y'all listening, we're not going for that bullshit. If you want some sacrifice, it's going to have to come from Africans on the continent, or the Africans that have left that need to return. We're not picking up your storyline to pretend to be you and go fix what you guys refuse to fix. We're not doing that. That's why y'all are having a whole host of us lope the hell up, cuss y'all the hell out, because we shouldn't even have to go back and forth with y'all about that. It doesn't make sense for y'all to believe that's what we ought to do. Unless you guys feel like we are your slaves, which a lot of y'all do feel that way. And I'm letting y'all know, I got the vibe. I got that wickedness that's spewing from y'all pores, and how you guys feel like we ought to be dominated. We ought to be controlled. We ought to be forced to do something. That's why these Pan-Africans are mad that we are delineated. They're mad that we're asking for a separation on, paperwork and different things, because they need us to be subordinate to them. That's what they thought we were going to stay like. And we changed and flipped all that off of us. And now y'all mad like we did some sinful thing, some blasphemous thing. We're only doing what most people would do and trying to protect themselves. We recognize what you guys are on, and we're removing ourselves from y'all bullshit. That's all we're doing. The Rock says FBA are only helping FBA and building for ourselves. Exactly. That's all it is. No real Virginian will say that we know we are Indians out here. Yeah. So it doesn't matter that the Democrats and the Pan-Africans and the immigrants have orchestrated a lie to claim us. We're letting y'all know we're not honoring anything that you have made an agreement about. We're not doing it. Whether you like it or not, we do not care. So now I want to move to Macron, because he did have a little bit to say on another video to kind of like gauge the mindset of these people. Like I said, to gauge the mindset of a colonizer, we need to listen to what he has to say, because he did say quite a bit. And we'll play a little bit of that and I'll conclude this live. I just wanted to be known why we're against Pan-Africanism, because you guys are setting us up to be enslaved to y'all. And we're letting y'all know that we're not doing all that. You got to go get your own slaves among yourself.
Heads of state and government, to draft a new agenda. One that we will draft together, we will build and roll out together. So yes, there is a change of language, but deep down, it is built upon what we have been doing over the past few years, 10 years of reinvesting in the continent, making bold decisions. When we talk about that, we're talking about the culture, sport, the economy, and the rest.
You speak of reinvention, focusing on economic matters to renew this partnership with Africa. But given the budgetary restrictions of France, do you have the means to compete with powers like China and the United States?
Yes, quite clearly, because obviously the United States, they cut off their funding for ideological reasons. France, ever since I was first elected, we actually increased our development aid, development financing through our multi-year budgets. But we had difficult budgetary years, fiscal years, so we had to bring about some changes. But it is actually well above what we had back in 2017. But deep down, and this is what we heard from presidents here, African countries aren't calling for budgetary aid, they're calling for investment. This is a way of changing the paradigm that we are operating in. It's not just saying, we're going to give you money. And oftentimes back home, French taxpayers, they say, hang on, you said that we don't have enough money for universities, for schools, for the hospitals, but you're spending money around the other side of the world. No, we are investing. Yesterday, we had the coalition of investors and entrepreneurs that we brought here. And yesterday, we announced 23 billion euros in investment. Private money. But that creates jobs. It changes lives. And this isn't state money. There was an additional 14 billion euros in investment from French companies across the African continent in all domains. IT, digital infrastructure, energy. And in addition to that, 9 billion euros that we mobilized through African investors, African entrepreneurs investing in their own continent. And that's what this relationship is about. It's a partnership. The forum that we have created, it's a coalition of new operators, brings together French and African entrepreneurs for the first time together. So you can see it's private money, projects that we're drafting together, co-investing.
Mr. President, you are promoting a business approach. Win-win, as you say.
Now, it's not just business. There's sport, there's culture, across all sectors. But this is no longer focused just on security and safety. It's focused a bit less on government aspects as well.
I understand. But nonetheless, economic matters have been foremost at the summit. You say it's win-win. But today, a businessman who wants to go to Africa can do so easily. And the opposite is not true. How do you plan to solve this problem of visas, a chronic problem that African businessmen complain about regularly?
So we have changed a lot over the past few years. We created business councils in pretty much every country with our own organizations. We have Business France, for example, that was set up for that purpose. So every year through Choose France, we have African representation with investors, with business leaders who want to invest in Europe, and we get the conditions ready for them. We also created a system with Business France and the Ministry for Foreign Affairs to put in place passports, if you want, talent passports for key industry segments with visas, fast-track processes, so that we can focus on investors, business leaders, talented people, be they French or European, with talent to travel around the continent. And what we wanted to do at this summit is to focus on country by country with the African Union to find ways to facilitate that movement of people. Actually,
I'm so glad this is happening, because no longer can Pan-Africans say that they're trying to get rid of the white man. Oh, we just need Black Americans. We could walk away from the World Bank, the IMF, these globalizers, these colonizers, because we know they never left and they're never leaving. They're not going nowhere. And they don't have the power to say no to the level of absolute no. So, yeah, he could be the Pan-African that y'all looking for. He says he's a Pan-Africanist. He's the best Pan-Africanist. There you got what a Pan-African mindset has. They want to colonize. They want to be in charge. They want to have authority over. They want to make the last say and the last decision. We do not need to have Africans who do not have their shit together in their own home country trying to regulate Black Americans. I'm not related to you. I don't know you. I don't care to know you. Get the fuck out of our face and out of our space is what y'all need to go do and figure out plan B. And plan B seems to be just tap out and go to the colonizer and strike a better and different deal. Cause thinking and dreaming about colonizing us ain't gonna fit the bill. Cause we are gonna loke the fuck up if you guys call yourself trying to overtake us. I'm telling y'all, we're not revering Africa like you think we ought to. That's the truth. Y'all don't even revere Africa like you're supposed to, and you're actually African. So don't put this bullshit onto us to have to wear this burden that you guys are not even wanting to bear yourself. You can't put the burden on us. And that's what Pan-Africans and Africans been trying to do. Oh, Black Americans, you could do it. No, bitch, I can't do shit. Go get your own kind and y'all go do it. Y'all want somebody serving y'all. And I'm letting y'all know the gig is up. We're not coming to serve y'all.
Morning, we had a very interesting conversation with Aliko Dangote. Now I'm going to quote him. I hope he won't take unkindly to me quoting him, but he's one of the biggest investors, Nigerian investors in Africa. And he said, I myself struggle to travel around the African continent. So sometimes what we could criticize Europe and France are doing is the same in Africa. So through the African Union, they're going to put in place the biggest system to facilitate circulation and movement of business leaders. And we're going to do the same with Europe. Because what you're going to create, we're going to create in Europe as well. It's like a mirror image, constantly improving.
Mr. President, you have emphasized the importance of youth. You talked about it yesterday and again today. Yet today in France, an African student.
My father grew up under Nazi occupation and the Civil War. He taught me you can't negotiate with cruelty. You have to fight back.
Talked about it yesterday and again today. Yet today in France, an African student must pay tuition fees that are equivalent to 16 times what a European student pays. Do you understand why young people feel that this is unfair treatment?
Well, actually, no. I mean, you can say we do things right. You don't have to say but after every sentence, because otherwise we always feel like we're trying to defend what we're doing. But in Europe, if I were to compare France, Germany, and England, well, everything, university education is free, but we actually have to pay for the social security system for French students, for European students. And it's currently the same for non-European students as well. But if you go to the UK, to Germany, to Italy, you pay more than we do. You actually pay a lot more than we do in France. So it's very good that we have this difference here, because this means that universities can actually charge non-EU students. Because in France, a student that doesn't pay, well, it's got to be paid by someone, and that's taxpayers. But taxpayers, they are going to say, hang on, I'm paying the tertiary education for students from around the world. And I actually have students from around the world saying, is the education you get in France actually any good if it's free? Canada costs a lot of money. You go to the United States, don't even talk about the United States, China, India. We're actually one of the only countries in the world where university education is free. So we need to get beyond that image.
For African students.
Yes, but African students, well, it's going to be a country-by-country basis. Universities, they will get to make their own decisions. Some universities would actually charge more than what they currently do today, was actually nothing. But their studies will Well, their education will be a lot less than what we have in other European countries. And we're going to have bursary systems through Campus France and universities. So through this reform, France will stay one of the cheapest countries in the world for its university system. So we need to be consistent with our own principles. French taxpayers, they aren't paying to have free education for people from around the world. It's not the case in any country elsewhere, so why should it be the case in France? What we will do is we'll provide support to talents from Kenya, from Senegal, from Cote d'Ivoire, who have been identified as talented people to sit down and work with universities, and then universities, they can choose to either charge fees or not, and Campus France will help, and we will have an attractive policy.
Another concern for African youth is the reform of the CFA franc. You said that you have done your job and that now Africans must make their own decisions. But do they really have a choice when exchange rates are set by the ECB, the European Central Bank, or when the CFA franc is still used in Senegal, Mali, Burkina Faso? Why does France continue to support the guarantee of the CFA franc convertibility?
Well, first of all, I didn't say it in those terms. In the session we had earlier on the economy, I said exactly what everyone has to do. And I said, if we want to have more people investing in Africa, we need, quite clearly, to have international financial structures that are more effective. We need to better use public money across all institutions, World Bank, IMF, Development Bank, regional banks, and they need to trigger more private money coming in. Then, we as Europeans, we need to do the job that we haven't done well in the past. The current solvency rules that we have today, the norms that are being enforced, they discourage many institutions from investing in the African continent, particularly from the financial sector. So this is a reform that I am calling for.
Shouldn't we fully carry out the 2019 reform?
I am getting to my answer to your question because I'm not just trying to sideline any of your questions. So what we need to do then is put in place a guarantee mechanisms. This is actually one of the major steps forward from this summit. We need to have a guarantee mechanisms for initial losses to allow private investors to come to the African continent more, because otherwise they're going to invest elsewhere. Now, for the reform on the CFA franc, which isn't an issue for this section of Africa, but for West Africa, this is something for which back in 2019 in Cote d'Ivoire, I took on my full responsibilities. I said, we're going to change the rules of the game. We're going to move on and provide warranties. And those warranties, they mean that the exchange rate is not going to be completely floating. So we changed the reserve systems, and it's now up to African leaders to take on this initiative. I actually spoke with President Ouattara on that exact topic a few weeks ago. And I know that he spoke about a tea with a number of presidents from the region who are from Wemu. And they said what's in the interest of West Africa today is to say that we stop with the anti-CFA franc discourse. We move beyond the system and its constraints.
But it's not the case today.
Well, I mean, I can't make the decisions for them. I'm not the one in charge of monetary policy for Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, or the others.
But isn't that just what has led you to reject France?
Well, I don't see people rejecting France. I don't see it wherever I go. Wherever I go for walking and for runs, I meet people. No one speaks like that. But you do see it online.
In West Africa.
Yes, online, but you need to be quite clear that there are some people from the youth who are pushed by these activists, these online activists, who are relaying narratives that are being created by foreign powers, the true colonizers of the 21st century, like Russia and the others. So what we need to do is get back to facts and to say that there is no reason to not like France today. But what I want to say about monetary policy, it's up to West African leaders to make the decisions. I've said, look, all the options are on the table. I've taken on my share of responsibility for our side of the discussion. I asked Mr. Severino, in whom I have great faith, to go out and meet with these leaders to create a new momentum. In the meantime, there were many issues, COVID, war in Ukraine, and all of the fallout from that. So now what I'm waiting for is from them to really take this forward. I think we need...
He's definitely making the argument. He's the man that knows what to do, how to do it, and he got the money to get it all started in the right direction, so he says. I mean, it's just sad that Africans don't, for the most part, don't have the ability to just be independent of all things for a long period of time. Yeah, Captain Torre appears to have his stuff together, but they keep having different insurgencies of Islamic people. And I'm not sure if Captain Torre going to be around for another 5 years. I would be really shocked if he survives, because he has bruised the ego of this president, Macron, for what he did. And I'm sure he never wants to live that down without trying to get a get back. But my point is that he's appearing to really want to be involved with Africa. Of course, he has his own intention. He wants to reassert himself as being the dominator, the decision person in all the equations dealing with Africa, where he finds it easy for him to be able to make moves and movements. Like I said, Africans long for the day to do that to us. That's why they're constantly trying to tell us something. I mean, I've never seen so many people that got so many things wrong with their own home country, and the only speech I get to hear is what they're trying to tell us. Like, can't you be in charge over there in Africa? Can't you know what to do over there in Africa? No, you don't know none of that, but you got words for me about what we ought to do. And that's just telling y'all where their mindset is. They want to be the authority over us to tell us what to do. And I'm letting everybody know we're not going for that. We're not going to get colonized by Ghana. We're not going to get colonized by the African Union. We're definitely going to rise up when it's time to let our voice be heard. And we're going to denounce and reject all of y'all that have called yourself making decisions for us without our consent. Because we are not your slave, and we're not your property. You cannot just do what this Macron guy is doing, just say whatever and just take a whole lot of people under his authority. That's what he's doing. He's taken a lot of different countries with 14 billion euros, he says he's investing to pretty much take control over all the people that's touched by that money. And of course, Ruto and others that get that money is not going to use a lot of it on the people. The people's never going to see those riches. They're never going to be elevated like that. Yeah, some will go to school in France. Some will get degrees and whatnot. But when you look at how they benefit off of having the control over different countries of Africa again, I guess that's the cost of it. But I don't want no parts of Ghana, especially. Nobody in Africa should be telling Black Americans anything. Until y'all show by an example what you can do in your own home country without being dominated by other races of people, don't tell us nothing. We're not listening to you, and we're not wanting to sign up to be dominated by you. It is what it is. All right, you said no real. Okay, yeah. Tahaka says, where is Dr. Umar? Oh yeah, he's everywhere but Africa. He's everywhere but talking about this right here. We got to see what he's got to say. The French is taking his kingdom. Exactly. Baba, Macron, or Dr. Umar, who has done more for Africa? Hey, I don't know. I'm not living there, and I don't want to. That's all I know. So with that being said, I'm going to come back. I'm going to try to hit YouTube maybe 3 times or 4 times a month. I'm not going to be on as regular because a lot of people don't really support me like I like. I feel the hatred. I feel a lot of people don't really like me telling my truth because it sounds offensive to their ears, because they want us to bow down to them and sound like we are endearing to them and that we are loving on people that never showed us love. How does that work? We're not showing people love that's never shown us love. We're not claiming people that's never claimed us. And now that you're in desperation times, you want to run to us and claim us? No, we don't want no part of that. And the world needs to understand that Indigenous American Blacks are true Americans. We're American only. We do not want to be associated with Africa. Because, again, if it was so good to do, Africans would do it. If it was so good to do, they would invite Haiti to go to Africa. They could sure use somebody to have their back right now in case the TPS expires sometime in June or July. But there's no words for Haiti about this Pan-African talk. There's no word for other migrating Africans or other immigrants that need to go or have left to go back to their home country about this newfound homeland of Africa for them to migrate to. They're not talking to none of them. They're only targeting Black Americans because, like I said back in 2018, we are the people that they're trying to conquer. Every melanated person is jealous that we're not conquered by anybody melanated. And that's what it all boils down to. They felt like, what do you call it? Marcus Garvey was close to like dominating us. So they thought, but he was a scammer. And we don't want to be scammed ever again. And we're never going to give up our rights to have our own agency, our own view of who we are. There ain't no doctor or what do you call it? Whatever you call it. People that study up on Africa studies and all that, professors. I don't give a damn how many degrees y'all got. Y'all not going to be like dictating nothing to us because we have earned our place here in America, whether you like that or not. And that's, by the way, the statement that Dr. Ericana said, whether you like it or not, we're going to have to deal with Africans. No, I'm not dealing with y'all. I'm not going over there. And y'all not coming over here to fuck with me. So it is what it is. So with that being said, I might be back again, possibly Sunday. So please like, share, and subscribe to the video. And again, Pan-Africanism is nothing but a dream. If President Macron could claim to be a Pan-Africanist, that just goes to show you how diabolical Pan-Africanism is. It goes without saying. Bless up, y'all.